Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the West African Pro League Junior League Day 2. It is your host, Priest. I am here giving you guys sweet PUBG Mobile content brought to you by 3 Crown Esports, and I am joined by none other than Fire. Fire, how are you feeling tonight, man?
Man, I'm feeling super excited for today's games. I do believe that is going to continue, from the action that we saw yesterday. Yesterday was mind-blowing, and I feel like, with the teams that I'm seeing on the line today, it's going to be crazy. You got Sidizens Gaming, and I'm looking forward to see what all these teams have in store for us.
Yes, Citizens Gaming and a couple of other teams. No one should be left out right now. I've been enjoying watching all of these teams, so far, and I am so impressed, coming off of what we saw yesterday from 21st Century, Team Apex, Dream Team, and a couple of other teams as well, that did manage to put some major points for themselves on the board. So I am looking forward to some more of that violence and sweet action tonight.
Absolutely. Yesterday's games, we saw, because of the new point system, a lot of these teams going crazy from the beginning. Apex was chasing the kills. Several different teams, started off a bit slowly. 21st Century got, the winner chicken dinners in the third, and I do believe in the fourth game as well. So this is going to be a really exciting game today as well, because they are not just chasing getting those placement points, but the kill points are, very important for the teams as they continue to progress. So we'll see how that one goes out today in this lobby.
Yeah, it's very interesting seeing the point system. Most of these teams, they're still trying to adapt, trying to understand. It's been very hectic for them, coming all the way from the previous point system that had 15 points at the chicken dinner, then 12 in second place, then 10 in third place, and going down, you got some sweet points for placement, even if you didn't, get a lot of eliminations. But now looking at the Livic point system, it goes down all the way to 6 for first place, and it's crazy. It's all about eliminations at this point, because it is so easy to put some big points for your team when you have more eliminations.
Absolutely. All right, so in today's game, we're going to be starting off with the Erangel match and then moving up onto Sandhawk, where we're going to see teams battle under close quarter. Then move to Vikendi, which is always a very tricky map because there's a lot of buildings to work with. And then back to our favorite large map, Mirama, where there's a lot of space and heals for teams to basically just farm out those kills.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to hop into the room very shortly. But yes, as Fire just told you, is 4 maps tonight. Violence is the name of the game. I am looking forward to seeing those eliminations pile all the way up. I am super excited, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing how teams are going to play Vikendi, later on tonight. I've not been seeing a whole lot of Vikendi games, so it's actually very fun to see how teams are going to rotate around. Most of these teams, this is going to be, their first time in a Vikendi lobby together. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing how that is going to pan out. I'm super excited. WAPL first edition. I am so excited to see which of these teams is actually going to make it into that senior league.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're going to be, maybe placing your bets on who is going to perform today, what few teams do you think we should probably look out for? I have mine, I'll tell you, but what's yours?
But I don't want to be that guy. Yeah, I'm not trying to be that guy for real. Like I ain't trying to start anything, because apparently, I did talk about some teams yesterday, and some people found it a little bit too much, So I'm not trying to raise any feathers or anything like that. I'm still having fun, just chilling. But then by in 2 days, I'll definitely have an answer for you. But for tonight, I'm just here to observe, to have some fun. That's what I'm here to do, man.
Right, so Priest is trying to be woke. I am Mr. Controversial. I don't really care. So if I'm going to go for the teams that I'm definitely going to be looking forward to seeing today, to think that they are going to perform quite well in the lobby, Sidizens Gaming is one of those teams that definitely will I will be looking out for. Fowl Play is another team that I do believe is going to perform quite well, as well as the boys from Cyclone Shields. These are a few teams, even Vibe Gaming and Afro Esports. These are a few teams that we've seen over in certain competitions continue with those with the dominance. So obviously today we're probably going to see them, put in a very comfortable display. So let's see how that one does progress as we see the map moving in from that southern region towards the north around Seveni.
Yeah, talking about comfortable displays, you did talk about a couple of interesting teams like Afro Esports. Those are that's actually one of the teams I've been looking out for because they've been building a very, very solid roster since the beginning of the year. When they did sign one of the players from the Outsiders, Peachy, he's been absolutely fantastic with Neo playing behind him. So that is a beautiful team. So far, they've been very, very dominant. They've been super dominant and they've been keeping that energy about them so far. But let's not forget about Fowl Play. You did mention them as well. Another strong team, another contending team. There's so many great teams here. Genesis, Rage Esport. It's absolutely beautiful to see all of these teams brought together by this beautiful tournament. And I'm looking forward to seeing who is going to take the chicken dinner for the first night of these two groups.
Right, so we're curious to see, just like you said, who is going to be grabbing home that winner chicken dinner in this particular game. Of course, there's so many different teams that we have highlighted that we believe are going to perform quite well in this game. We'll see how that one actually does play out. But taking a look at the map, several different teams have landed in different positions, but we're already seeing a fight going on between Rag and Val somewhere around Rosehawk, and they're already beginning to get into that action right there, as I do believe the boys from Rag, Smoker has got into eliminations to himself.
Yeah, Rage Esports already putting some fire down onto the guys from Valhalla. I think that is going to be first blood tonight, and that was absolutely beautiful coming in from the guys from Rage. Fantastic stuff from them. But we do have our sights on Afro Esports, another one of the teams that we did mention. Peachy is leading the charge, and they already caught a body here from New Generation. Lieb is already on the ground and probably going to be stepped back into the lobby, or probably just quickly eliminated there. You can see I keep forgetting what this name is supposed to be for me to pronounce it, unfortunately, but I'm still going to get the hang of it eventually. We'll
just say OJ. We'll just say OJ. We'll just say OJ for the time being.
Yeah,
OJ.
Don't
kill us. Don't kill us. We're just going to go with OJ.
But OJ, bro. OJ.
Yeah, we're definitely just going to stick to that, because pronouncing that whole name is worse than pronouncing Rumpelstiltskin right now. So we're just going to go with that for now. All right, so the boys from Afro getting into a fight right there. They've gotten themselves 1 kill so far. Afro Esports, one of those teams that we'll be looking to see them get into the action. They're sitting somewhere just around farm, not too far away from the boys from NGE, who have lost 1 player. All right, they've both landed at the same, around similar regions. Right, sitting down in Yasnaya, let's just look at where Priest, right, where several different teams are currently situated right now. We have 2 teams in Yasnaya. We got the boys from CLS and we got Rage sitting down within that Yasnaya region. We'll keep an eye on them and see if we're going to be getting any eliminations coming down between the 2 teams. We got the boys from FUG sitting down all the way around Kameshki, around the northern side of the map. And on Stolba, we got IC. We got Fowl Play in Severny, Val just a bit south of them. We got the boys from Rag sitting down in Ruins, and Sidizens Gaming is in Milta Power. And the boys from Men of Blood are sitting down in Milta right now. So that's where a few of the teams are currently situated. We'll see how that one continues to progress as the map continues to shrink.
Well, you did talk about Yasnaya being a hotspot right now. You can see the guys from Rage Esports. Top G, one of my favorite players for the team. He's been super fantastic for the guys from Rage. He was very, very good in the qualifier series, and that is one of the reasons I do enjoy watching him play. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing how he is going to contain that one. Afro Esports looks like they are into something interesting here, and they already got themselves 4 eliminations right out of the gate. We did talk about this. Peachy getting two. Peachy already starting to run at it.
All right, so we have our first team eliminated in the game so far. It is the boys from NGE who have now been sent back into the lobby by the boys from Afro Esports, landing within the same regions. And you know, if you're getting taken out early on in the game, Chris, you definitely deserve it, because remember, the drop spots have been shared on Instagram, so everyone knows where the different teams are going to be landing. So if you are landing next to a team like Afro, then you're definitely going out for that challenge.
Yeah, I mean, if you know what time it is, you should put your wristwatch on your hand if you're trying to know what time it is. And that but right now, I did talk about Afro Esports and their quick movements. They didn't necessarily even land in that area, but they had already started moving, and then the guys from New Generation Esports just pulled up south of their position, and then they just used that opportunity to box them in. That was absolutely fantastic stuff coming in from Afro Esports. And again, I did talk about Peachy. He has to be watched. Everyone has to be careful about that guy. No Rage Esports as well has to be very careful. Cyclone Shield is still in Yasnaya. Now these are the teams that you're talking about. Drop spots, they are all aware of each other's landing positions, but they don't care. They're stubborn like that. They're not going to leave Yasnaya to just one team. There's so much loot to go around for everyone. So that's what I'm thinking this is all about right now.
Yeah, definitely. Teams are going in for the juggler of there's several different opponents, and I think, Chris, just like you mentioned, probably the idea is, if I can take out one of the major opponents quite early on, then I may have an easier game as it continues to progress.
Yeah, that could work as a style, I guess. I don't know if I'll call it a style. I'll call it a strategy. Play styles and play strategies, it all falls down onto the same bracket for most of these teams. But eliminating teams early in the game, it reduces the amount of opponents you need to see here, as Valhalla lose yet another body. Again, they've lost yet another player, 3 down this time around. Beast been spotted, a couple of shots sent towards his direction, but fortunately he is going to get out of dodge just in time before the guys from Fowl Play decide to descend on him. But then again, I did talk about the play styles for most of these teams, as I was mentioning earlier. The play styles of most of these teams, if you eliminate more players right out the bat, right out the beginning of the game, you score more points, and you tend to face less players as the game goes on. So that is the play style, that is the strategy. But do you think he's going to work every time, though, in every map?
I don't think so. I don't think that you should be challenging teams at all. For me, just go on and get that. That's how I'll play. Maybe that's why I'm not a professional player, because I'm a coward, right? So I'm just gonna go away, get as much loot as I can, and then come feeling like I'm Superman. Okay, so for me, get a level 4 vest if possible. Come into the fight and try to beat you. That will be my strategy. But anyways, I'm not as brave as some of these players. So yeah.
Well, I'm more of a just driving to the center of the circle in zone 3 type of guy. I'll just be on the edge of the circle throughout. But then once it's zone 3 or phase 3 of the circle, when I'm expecting the hard shift, I just drive into the center and take a position. If whoever is there, that's a GG's. It's either you take me or I take you. That's what's going to be. And that's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. So now we're seeing the boys from First Artics employ tactics where they're seeing Fowl Play drive around them, but they're being absolutely quiet and not trying to stir up a fight with the boys from Fowl Play and just letting them drive by. You see, this is probably what I'll be doing as an IGL. You understand what I mean? I'll just be like, you know what? I'm not taking on fights right now. I want to go with the third parties. I don't want to aggravate any team and get pushed quite early on. I want to take on. I want to push a team when they're at their weakest points. Right? They're fighting and 2 teams are going head to head. They're all low and boom, go in, fam, get my 5 kills, and then run away. That's it. That's how I'll do. So I'll just start what's they're doing that.
Man, Fire, you ain't getting no 5 kills. What are you saying? You're not even that cracked. You ain't getting 5 kills. I'll give you 2 kills at best, 2 eliminations at best. That's what you're doing, bro. But then we did see this in last that actually with Team Apex. They were so heavily dependent on a whole lot of third parties. They did it so beautifully, so masterfully. It was absolutely beautiful to watch. And now we have Solo Esports. Do you have a lot of history with the guys from Solo? Because it is really just last year that I saw them come into the African scene. So how much experience do you think they have?
I think if it's the same Solo that I'm thinking about, I think they've gotten themselves into quite some competitions around. I do believe them Zanzi even, but I'm not really sure if it's the same team. But we'll come back to that. Let's take a look at the boys from MOB who are coming up in this fight versus right now the boys from GNS, and MOB is looking like they're on the front foot coming up against, I do believe, the second to the last guy for that team, and they've got in that knock as well, Priest. Ooh. Do you think Grim can somehow find a way back in this fight?
Man, it's not looking too possible, man. It's not looking good, bruv. Grim is trying to rotate around the right-hand side there. He peeks out towards the dump stats as a couple of shots, but doesn't work. He might just be spotted from the left. He is immediately sent back into the lobby, and Team Genesis have found their way back to where they came from. They did manage to get a couple of damage points sent their way towards the guys from Men of Blood, but it's not going to work out in the slightest.
Oh. All right, so the boys from MOB winning that fight. They've not lost any player in that one, so GG's to them. They got 4 kills to their name, and eliminations are the theme of this game right now. The more eliminations you get, the better you stand a chance to be up on that leaderboard. So GG's definitely doing well in this game. So Priest, we are now moving into the third stage of the game. We've still got about 13 teams so far. So walk us through on what you're seeing in the lobby and how you think it's going to continue to progress.
Well, the play zone is shrinking right now. We're definitely going to head into the third phase of the circle. Like I talked about earlier, in my particular play style, this is the part of the game where I've started to, fuel my vehicle, getting ready to drive into the middle of Yasnaya, Poliana right now. That's basically what I'm going to be doing at this point, But then that northern position, it looks very, very sweet for most of these teams like Cyclone Shield Esports and No Rage Esports. I see them being very, very comfortable to play from that position, and just like I said, yep, that is where I would have been right now, Beautiful zone we have here. I mean, all of these teams now, they have to make the conscious decisions. What am I going to do next? Do I want to take it one step at a time, or do I just want to, say, man, let me just hop into there on guns blazing and let's see what's going to come outside from this engagement?
Absolutely agreed. It's left to the teams to decide, what strategy they're going to take as they continue to move into those regions around Yasnaya. Speaking about regions, the boys from Fowl Play are also playing around that thought process of moving into that region where CLS is currently situated, and CLS themselves are also in a battle, as you can see on the kill feed right there. They have had one player taken down from Solo. You can see Danny Brown going in for the juggler of that last player, Samurai. He sends him back into the lobby, and this is the beginning of all the violence that we have been envisaging in this particular game, as Sidizens Esports also pulls up on ground.
Yes, the beginning of the end for some of these teams, like I said, is all about the play style, what you want to do and how fast you're going to execute. You can see a whole lot of bodies trying to get into some engagements as we're navigating the circle right now. On the edge of it, you can see the guys from Afro Esports trying to find somewhere they can nest in and then try to feast out these eliminations to the rest of these teams. I think they see some bodies rotating around them. I believe, that is Vibe Gaming. They are rotating from this position. They do have one elimination already, so they already know that, okay, bad as a bad, we've got 1 point. 1 point can count for something at this point, but then it's all about rotating and finding somewhere to call home, because you can see
Absolutely.
Kenny doing Fast and the Furious right here, escaping those bullets that are being rendered his way.
Oh, absolutely. It is really tough for all of these teams to find a spot to call their own. As you know, the way that Yasnaya surroundings work, right? There are very few buildings to work with except that center in Yasnaya. Although, so most teams will be pushed to just move into that position within the center. But here is where the problem now begins. If this zone shifts away from that center, then it becomes really difficult for a lot of these teams to find spots. So this is going to be an interesting game as we continue to progress. We'll see how that one actually goes and what the zone does.
Yeah, the zone is going to be the architect. I mean, yesterday we did watch someone say the zone had 5 KD, because the zone just kept claiming
Uh,
bodies on bodies now. So it was actually very
Zone to
interesting to
OP.
watch.
Zone to
And we
OP.
and we did talk about it. We did talk about,
Yeah,
how these
absolutely.
teams, the more the teams in the circle, the more difficult it is going to be for you to get inside of it. Especially if you're one of those teams that tries to come late. Speaking of coming late, Goth Esports were late to the party, and Fowl Play just made them pay, making them lose yet another player. They are down to 2 players left. Is Ziggy and General, the last two. But these are two very, very capable players. They can do it, but I don't know for how long they can keep the energy. It's going to be interesting. The guys from Cyclone Shield catching a whiff of the Citizens, just building to building. They're literally neighbors, but nothing of note is happening just yet.
So, and judging from the way the zone is shifting now, because this was the thing I was talking about earlier on. If there is a zone shift that takes away the players from Yesnaya, this is when things are going to get interesting, because now everyone's going to be up in that open field, and it is now dependent on the teams who were already situated on that north of Yesnaya to make things work. So we're going to see a lot of violence, because we still got about 13 teams right here in the lobby. Sidizens Gaming, Fowl Play, Rage Esports, all situated, and will now be trying to get out of Nesnaya, and this is where things now begin to get really, really feisty.
Yeah, feisty is the name of the game, because everyone out here is trying to get some eliminations for themselves, trying to, boost
Absolutely.
themselves on that leaderboard. Is going to be very crazy, because there's still 44 players in the lobby. There's still 13 teams. If you do get eliminated right now, you still get 0 points. You get no placement points. So you do have to get those eliminations. They are key at this level. You do have to put some points on the board for your team.
Absolutely, absolutely. IC hasn't gotten any eliminations yet, but they still managed to keep themselves with a full squad. You can see Chapo right there, just taking a look at the boys from FUG who are pulling up towards that region. We might see a fight going down between those two teams right here, as things are beginning to get really, really crazy. We're seeing Vibe get into a fight, and we're going to be seeing little skirmishes in different positions right about now, as things are going to just erupt at any single moment.
Ooh, Diags getting spotted there and dropped to his knees. He falls immediately. The rest of his teammates are pulling up to the scene. He's been sent back into the lobby solo and now down by 50%. And you can see Floyd here just getting his health back up. Might just decide to take that engagement, or he's going to join his teammates and get out of dodge. This is not a very, very sweet position to be. Finally, the guys from Valhalla have been sent back to Valhalla. Unfortunately, Fugitive Esports pulling up as well in this sweet, sweet third party. But again, they are exposed from the south side, so they need to be careful. But again, I'm looking forward to seeing how they are going to manage this particular position for the third party.
Fugitives Esports, they've got 1 kill to the name so far, like you said, but they've got to watch out for that third party as the zone is shrinking. They've been able to get a knock to their name, and we'll be curious to see if they're going to push onto that location, because they do need to push onto Yomite and the boys, because they've got a portion of that zone. If they can take that spot, then they do buy themselves a favorable position as they move into those final circles. We're moving into that stage 6, and this is where the fight really now does begin to count.
Yes, sir. It's counting down season, because the points start to pile up from here. Beautiful position coming in from the guys from Cyclone Shield. They are holding behind, but again, they do not have play zone, so they need to move. They need to be on the move. The Citizens also outside, they do not have play zone. They need to find vehicles to rotate and get themselves out of this dangerous position. Jetto peeking inside, trying to get a couple of shots towards the guys from No Rage Esports, I believe, Deji and Papi driving up the hill, driving north. Beautiful, beautiful rotation coming in from them. I think they might not just face a little bit of too much, drama as they try to navigate themselves back up into that position.
Man, Cyclone Shield and the boys from Citizens have a lot of work to do for themselves as they try to escape that region around Yasnaya. Remember, we talked about there being so many different teams who were clustered around that region, and if the zone moves away to the north, which it eventually did, it's going to be difficult for all of these teams to get themselves out and move towards spots that are hardly available right there all the way north of that Yasnaya. So it'll be curious to see if these teams can find a way or a strategy to find a good spot for them in that zone. If not, we might be seeing teams like Sidizens and CLS in a very, very current situation as they do try to find a spot for themselves up on those hills in the North Tier 9.
Ooh, Vibe Gaming does pull up to the scene. Neo is going to get knocked immediately there, and and the rest of his teammates are nowhere to be found. It's not looking too good again. OJ, the next to go down to Bad Boy Tim's. Vibe looking very, very comfortable there, but Kenny is going to be blown to smithereens. Fortunately for the rest of the players from Afro, they are looking very, very strong still. They are sending defensive shots to push the guys from Vibe all the way back.
All right, so the boys from Vibe, trying to get into that zone, but Hunter putting in the work right there. So he does get another knock onto one of the players from Vibe Esports. Bougie is down. Vibe Esports gets in hard right there. And right now, it's all down, I do believe, to the last guy, which is teams to somehow hold and keep them in this game.
Ooh, that's a bombastic grenade, man. Dropping on Solo, and another grenade drops. Once again, the Citizens with a fantastic use of all of their utilities there, sending the guys from Fowl Play back into the lobby, one after the other. Fantastic play coming in from them. They do somehow managed to get inside of the play zone, and that is fantastic stuff. You can see Joker still charging more grenades, and again, Simple finds a way to escape the danger, but I spoke too soon. He's going to be dropped immediately by Gordier.
The boys from Foul Play putting in the work, somehow keeping themselves in this particular game. They're down to the last guy, as well as Citizens Gaming. Citizens Gaming came into this game with a 3-man squad, but now they're chilling with just 2 men left, Joker and Godier, but they're still keeping themselves in this game. They've gotten a lot of knocks, but they've probably not gotten those confirmations, as they are currently now sitting with 3 kills. Godier got another knock right there, but they were able to take out the boys from Foul Play just before let me see, please.
Yeah, so they did manage to catch the guys from Foul Play just in the nick of time. Fortunately for them, they did have the upper ground. They did have the better position, and they used that to their advantage. Unfortunately, now Royal Academy catching the guys from Fugitive Esports, they did make the conscious decision to rotate late, and now they are paying dearly for it. But now this engagement has cost Tokyo his life as well. He is going to go back into the lobby, and the guys from Fugitive will still survive based on the numbers of players they already had in the play zone. But Top C spotted again. He's going to be dropped with that ICM 416 by Cyclone Shield. Falcon with a beautiful spray towards that position. Citizens are still in it there with a 2-man team, and now we are down to 10 players and 6 teams.
And Citizens Gaming somehow keeping themselves in this game as they are down to the last guy, but Cyclone Shields is not holding back as they are getting knock after knock and taking down different teams around them. The boys from Rage Esports feeling the heat coming in from the boys from CLS right there. As you can see, Falcon charging up those grenades, looking to see if he can get another knock onto Deji and his boys. Pappy still holding in this particular game, looking to push onto the boys from Cyclone Shields. Is just right next to them, and it might just be down to very little margins in this one as we are pushing onto that final circle. Cyclone Shield is looking good for now, but they've got to take care of the boys from Rage Esports. If not, it might just spell the end for them.
That's an interesting take, for the guys from Cyclone Shield. But then Afro, one of the team favorites, we are all down to 1 player, and I believe that is going to be Hunter, the last one up for them, trying to keep their hopes alive. They do have a sizable number of elimination. Vibe also down to 1 player. There's so many solo players around. I think Cyclone Shield is the only team that has up to 3 players up. The numbers advantage, it already worked for them. Ooh, but Bad Boy Tim spots Hunter there, and he is going to be eliminated by Joker coming in from behind, stealing something that didn't belong to him, and that is the beauty of the game right there. Fugitive Esports at the edge of the circle, just nipping it through. I don't know what the play is, but Cyclone Shield have decided to take the engagement towards their position, and it's not looking too nice for the guys from Fugitive. They are going to be sent back into the lobby, and it's now Cyclone Shield versus the Citizens.
All right, so we're talking about this before the game started, about this 2-team Cyclone Shield and Citizens Gaming, and right now it is Joker coming up against those 3 players. Can he somehow find a way to heal himself just before the rest of the 2 players come in and push onto his location? You can see Falcon looking for him. They've got an angle, so definitely it will be almost impossible for Joker to take them out on those 2 opposite ends. But my goodness, what a performance coming in from this 2 teams as they do manage to grab themselves the winner chicken dinner, as well as 8 eliminations. Lovely stuff, Chris.
Absolutely fantastic play coming in from the guy from Cyclone Shield. It was interesting, because they did have Yasnaya. They had Yasnaya. You know, it was theirs. They had Yasnaya the entire time, you know, but then they didn't start to get eliminations until the game started to progress. They started to move with the circle. They tanked it so hard. They stayed behind for a very, very long time, but it did manage to pay out. I believe them and the Citizens at some point, they got into an engagement earlier on in Yasnaya. They lost a couple of players. This one sacrificed this one to this person sacrificed to that person, and somehow those two teams still made it into the circle. You know, I don't know how they did it. I don't know what the rotation strategy was. I have absolutely no idea what the idea was there, but it still managed to work out, and it still managed to make it into the top two teams.
To be honest, just like you said, I don't know how they did it. I don't know how those two teams, especially CLS and Sidizens Gaming, came from a very tough circumstance, sitting down in that Yasnaya and managed to still rotate. Definitely GGs to their IGL for making it work, because they were sitting down in one of the toughest spots within those final circles. How they did it is definitely down to very tiny margins, but definitely their IGL should be given some extra beer.
I think that's God. Yay. I think that's great. So, but he did get sacrificed earlier on, so I'm not pretty sure he did much of anything. But he did get sacrificed earlier on. But they did manage to get some good points for themselves. You know, that's a good way to start the day. That's a very good way to start the day. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing how the leaderboard is going to look. But that's a good way to start the day. They got a decent number of eliminations. I think they got up to 5 eliminations or 4, and then Cyclone Shield did get like, I believe, 9 or 10. You know, I think Afro Esports was also in there somewhere, getting I think 8 as well. Vibe also got in some numbers in there. So the leaderboard is going to look very, very tight. You know, we don't have, I don't think we're going to have a repeat of what we had yesterday when Team Apex just kept tearing through the lobby every single game. They kept getting elimination after elimination after elimination. You know, numbers kept going up.
I think, just like you said, you know, it's a very different map that was or game that we're seeing right now, because yesterday we saw a team that was tearing through the lobby, and then some other teams that were, you know, just being very tactical about how they were playing, like 21 Century, like O3 Brothers, like Active Gaming, who were challenging them and pushing them out of the game. But today's game was seeing a balance between most of the teams, and everyone is just putting in an average amount of work. But somewhere there, you still have Citizens and CLS proving that they are still superior in this one.
Yes, so, you know, and I'm looking forward to see who the MVP is. Oh, it's Falcon. Falcon is the MVP, and I did mention him earlier for the guys from Cyclone Shield because he was playing Overwatch a lot for them. He kept them in the game for an extended period of time. It was actually very, very interesting what he played. You know, he was playing the scout role, but I think he moved back into support, you know, the moment they lost one of their players and became a the moment they became a 3-man team. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing more from him. You know, he's very, very good long range, so I'm looking forward to seeing more and more from him.
Absolutely great stuff coming in from Falcon right there for CLS, but that doesn't tell the whole story, because to be able to come out of a very tough circumstance, fight for your team and battle it out, coming in from Yasnaya to push in up on that hill and take out several different teams like Rage Esports around them, take out the last guy Afro is absolutely amazing stuff right there.
Yeah, you know, Vibe Gaming also did some fantastic numbers. You know, I talked about them, you know, just a couple of seconds ago, and they were one of those teams that did very, very good numbers, very good eliminations. They didn't necessarily, you know, have all the best elimination numbers right out the gate. You know, they did progress. They picked a couple of players here, picked a couple of teams here, you know, and then eliminated one entire team, and that is a very, very soft way to play it. But, you know, pairing up against the guys from Afro Esports, you can see that there's not necessarily much of a difference, because these two teams, they played the exact same way, they rotated in the same exact fashions, and I think they even clashed into each other, you know, at some point. I saw Neo fall to one of the guys from Vibe, you know, and I think they got eliminated right around the same time. So it is very interesting to see, and that thing you talked about, you know, balance. This is a very balanced head-to-head right now. If you're looking at it, it's quite balanced. You know, it's pretty much the same thing. You know.
Yeah, absolutely balanced right there. Even at some point in time, we did see that Hunter was took out about 2 guys from Vive Esports, so it was down to very little margins right there.
Yeah, it was absolutely down to little margins.
Yeah, but it does look like we're having some technical difficulties. We'll just wait and see what is happening.
Yeah, right. So I think we'll just go on a break, and this will be sorted very shortly.
Yeah. Cricket noise. We back? Okay, guys, it does seem like we did have a little bit of technical difficulties in that particular one right there, but taking a look at things right now, we are seeing the damage done by several teams. Of course, it is the boys from Vibe Gaming getting 1,363 damage, as well as those 9 kills right there. But Cyclone Shields, who came out on top, had pretty much the highest damage, even though they only came out with about 8 kills right there, Preston, this one.
Yeah, interesting stuff. It still falls into what it is we talked about earlier, and that is balance. This looks so balanced to be top 5 teams. Cyclone Shield taking that chicken dinner. So unfortunate that Sidizens are not here, so that tells you a lot. The second place team isn't even here. So that tells you that they didn't necessarily do this level of damage, but they did manage to find themselves in the second place position. Vibe Gaming, we saw that they got a bunch of eliminations. Cyclone Shield doing the same as well with Afro Esports, and even the Fugitive Esports did manage to squeeze themselves inside these numbers as well, and that is fantastic stuff. So much balance around the board right here. The numbers are not that far apart, and the leaderboard is going to be so tightly knit, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that is going to pan out. But I think we have Sanok cooking I think that's the next map, so I think we're going to go on a break right now, and then we'll get ready for Sanok.
All right, so before we go for a quick break, which we will in a minute, let's take a look at the leaderboard so far. So Cyclone Shield coming out on top just as expected. They got a lot of eliminations as well as getting that winner chicken dinner. But take a look at who is placed up in that second spot. It is the boys from Vibe Gaming, who finished in 4th place, but they did grab themselves a whole lot of eliminations. That definitely boosts them up to that second spot. And then Fugitive Esports as well, getting those eliminations and boosting themselves up as well into that 3rd spot. So what you gotta say about this, Priest?
I did say this though. The leaderboard is so tight, so packed. It's so different from what we had yesterday. We had teams doing 17 eliminations, 13, 15. Right out the gate. So right now it's looking 8 eliminations here, 9 here, 8 here, 6 here, 7 here. And that's crazy, because the point difference just between the 1st place team and the 5th place team is just a mere 7. And all that takes is 7 eliminations to catch on through. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to balance this out in the next map. Sanok being that map that is very, very quick, very brass. All your decisions have to be on the spot, on the go. So I'm looking forward to seeing how we are going to navigate the Sanok map right after the break.
Sanhok is usually one of those maps that's extremely unpredictable. If it was the previous placement points, I would say this is the map where those teams are going to be put it in the hill strats, but hill strats are not really gonna help you right now. So you gotta push in for those kills, and it's going to be very, very difficult for a lot of teams. You don't know which way it's gonna go. We even saw yesterday Apex wasn't really able to keep up that momentum in the Sanhok game, even though they still performed quite well. But it's really difficult to know how it's going to flow until maybe the 4th, 5th stage. But we'll see how that one actually progresses as we go on the break.
Yeah. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to the West African Pro League brought to you by Three Crowns. It is your boy Priest, and I am still here with my main man, Fire.
Yeah. What's up? Let's get ready for another beautiful game, Priest. So, you still don't have predictions, right? You're still wanting to hang on the fence, you know?
Fire, leave me alone, man.
I like trouble.
Man.
I like trouble. I'm going to be the trouble guy.
Man. I'm not going to be that guy.
Who are we going to jinx today? Who are we going to jinx?
Fire.
Rest. Okay, I'm going to jinx somebody. I'll jinx somebody, but not now. When the game starts.
Cyclone Shield getting their badge on the map for Erangel as we are prepped to get into Sanok very shortly, but then I'm looking forward to seeing a very, very fantastic performance coming from Cyclone Shield again. I think they do land somewhere around Paradise Resort, so it might just be very interesting, the way they decide to navigate this, but I'm looking forward to seeing how it is going to pan out for the time being. A northwest circle, I'll just call it a northern plane path all the way to the west hand side, just so I don't think anyone lands in Tambang though. Do you know any team that lands in Tambang? All these interesting places. Fire.
Not really. I've probably landed there maybe like twice since I played PUBG throughout, because for me, whenever I'm watching teams, it's always, very, it's always Pachink, it's always Paradise, Boot Camp, Painan, the regular places, Camp Charlie, Sami, Hatting. I don't really see people going to Tambang that often, especially in scrims. Nah.
Yeah, I'm actually very excited to see how these teams are going to navigate this position, but I'm super having so much fun. I'm super excited really. I'm not sure what the idea is going to be for most of these teams, but then Fowl Play have this habit of landing in the north. Even in Erangel, I saw them in Severny. That's a northern position, so I think you can see a little bit of something here though. Cowl is like the Severny of this map. Do you see that?
Yeah, definitely. Foul play, just like you said, have a thing about landing in the north. I think sometimes maybe if this doesn't work for you, it might just be a voodoo thing. Your Babalawo has just told you, you know what? Always land in the north. If you land in the north, you'll be in top 5. If you change it, the juju would not work. So just and then maybe they're also from the north, so they land in the north often. It depends.
No, Fire. No. I disagree with that. I am not going to be one with that. But then Fugitive Esports as well is one of those teams. Fugitive Esports is actually one of those teams, I'm looking forward to seeing how they are going to, perform once again in this game. They did a very, very good job in Aranjo, but we've got Afro Esports, the pride and joy. But OJ has been sent back into the lobby. It's very interesting. The guys from Solo are creeping up on them, but it's no longer creeping because I'm pretty sure they know Neo is in this position and they're trying to eliminate him. He's spotting in Diags again, drops him immediately. Beautiful play there with the AKM, switches to the Honey Badger, tags a bit, but no, he is going to fall to his knees and he is going to be sent back into the lobby. Solo Esports claim yet another soul from the guys from Afro Esports.
Oh, Afro Esports in a very precarious situation, but you did also see Peaky trying to come in right there and get another knock, but it does look like it was a third party who was able to just save Solo at that particular moment. A really crazy one going down there for Afro Esports. I would just suggest, just lick your wounds, get out of this situation, try as much as possible to push yourself onto that top 4 spots.
Yeah, top four is where you need to be, though. Top 4 is definitely where you need to be. Goth Esports have set their sights on the last two players from Afro Esports. I believe that is Punk and Peachy. Peachy did send a couple of shots towards the guys from Solo, but nothing too brutal. He's been spotted again. He might just get dropped. He's not careful. Fortunately for him, the distance is too great, and he is able to find cover really, really quickly.
You know, Hap is the guy that actually saved Solo right here, because I do believe that Peaky could have gotten another knock onto Solo Esports and look to push onto them in a 2v2 situation, but you know, it wouldn't be, as Goth Esport boys just decided, hey, you know what, we're gonna push onto this one. And that is always the story of Sandhawk. There's always somebody lurking around somewhere trying as much as possible to get a third party knock.
Yeah, it's so tricky, you know, when these teams decide to play in this particular fashion or in this particular manner, you know. Goth Esports, I did remember Ziggy and General, the last two left in the Ranju game, and they did actually manage to secure themselves some good placement points, you know, with the two-man team. You know, I talked about their combo. That combination is a really fantastic combination, you know, that they have so far. But then Royal Academy, this is another team that I'm not too certain of their abilities, you know. I can see Lerad right there sending a couple of shots towards Beast, but nothing connects to... Oh, it does connect actually. Drops him to about 10 HP, but fortunately he is going to find cover just in time.
Oh, all right, the boys from your Royal Academy looking for that one chance to make their push right there as Beast goes down to Smoker, and this is where things now begin to get interesting, man. There's action upon action at every single corner right here in this spot in Sandhawk. And Priest, it is very tough to even follow like every single fight through, because you see like every team is getting little eliminations here and there. There's no team that's been taken out of the game so far, but it is just damage upon damage at every single corner, and that's what you do expect to see in a Sandhawk game.
Yes, sir. This is Sandhawk. Like I said earlier, you know, the map of violence. All you have to do is be super violent. Xenos is trying to move from the left-hand side. Gets a first knock. Beautiful knock on Lera there. Gets the confirmation, peeking and bending to his left. He does do a fantastic job of getting the confirmation there, but then the guys from Rag are not letting this one slide. I believe his teammate Tokyo just pulled up as well, trying to get vengeance for his falling comrade. But I think he is going to, you know, loot his comrade's crate just first. He's going to first take a couple of supplies from his fallen comrade before he decides to avenge him. And I think from that little box, he did find a grenade, the one he's going to send towards Xenos' position. And I believe the Extremist just pulled up to the scene as well.
So it's now a three-way fight going in between Valhalla Esports, Extremist, and what is this? Okay, so he lands into the water, Xenox.
That would have been so tricky. So tricky, man.
That would be really tough, but he did probably take the right decision as Zombie and Dollars were pulling up onto that location right there. I'm not sure Tokyo is aware of the boys from Extremist pulling up right here, but he's got to be careful as they might look to take him out and he might get eliminated there. So we'll see how that one actually does play out.
Yeah, you know, Royal Academy, I'm interested in seeing how they are going to perform in this game. They did have a good start in the last game, but it was short-lived. You know, hopefully they are going to make, you know, atonement for some of the mistakes they made in the first game. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to manage, you know, losing one player right, you know, this early. Valhalla is going to hold this hill of a position there, just not too far away from the Citizens. You know, the Citizens are now a four-man team, and now they are extra dangerous. You know, imagine the performance they had in the last game with three players. Now Bego is here, the MVP, their top fragger is here finally. You know, so hopefully there might be some extra sauce coming in from Bego.
Oh, so Bego coming in right there, hopefully to provide more firepower for Citizens Gaming. We'll see how that one actually does work. I do remember I did not give my caster course.
Yes.
I forgot.
I made sure you forgot. Yeah, because I ain't trying to be. I don't want to be blasted in the group chat, fam. I'm not trying to be blasted in the group chat.
I'm used to it.
Play zone
Honestly.
is shrinking out here though, squeezing these teams ever so closely to each other. And as let's not forget about the guys from Cyclone Shield though, and Vibe. Those top performing teams from the last game, all eyes have to be on them. And the way they are going to decide to play this particular map, Bad Boy Tim's from Vibe is holding just the window, peeking outside, trying to see if there are some ops in the distance so he can spray them with his IC M416. So yes, there's so many ops around, my guy. All you have to do is use your third eye and you will spot them.
Oh, this is a very dangerous situation for Vibe Gaming, as Citizens is just on their tail right there up on those hills. They do have the hill advantage, so one knock or two might turn things around. But seeing that right there on the kill field, we do have Rage Esports coming up against the boys from Extremist. Extremist is already down to the one player right there, so we did see another knock go down as the boys from Rage are just putting in the work onto that team right there. And we see Wolf. I'm sure this is pretty much a JP move, just getting out of that situation and trying as much as possible to go in for what is left of the game in placement points.
It is absolutely astounding to see that we are into phase 2 of the circle, and everyone is still in the game. Fire, everyone is still here. There's no team that has actually been eliminated just yet. All of these teams are losing players one after the other, but someone is still surviving. There is no first team to go back into the lobby just yet. The Vawlence is astounding so far. All of these teams have been putting in the work. You can see Wolf did manage to escape from that position, refueling his vehicle, and he's proceeding to jack back further to escape into the distance so that he will not be spotted by the rest of the players from No Rage Esports.
All right, so they're definitely No Rage Esports just lurking around that corner. They're aware of that position where Wolf is currently situated. You can see Forkin or Akin just looking around, waiting for Wolf to make a move, and he can pounce in to that position. Top G as well, keeping an eye right there, and as well as Amani just dancing around there. But they've got to be careful because also as we can see, Solo Esports is just lurking around, waiting for a mistake from one of these two teams. It does look like they're a team shaping up to get those eliminations. Remember, at the beginning of the game, they had taken out 2 players from Afro Esports, and they're one of those teams who will be looking to see if they can continue to climb up on that leaderboard.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how they are going to climb up on the leaderboard for sure. But then, new generation, the next people to fall. Interesting position the guys from New Generation are holding, though. They've been caught out once again, I believe, by one of the players from Men of Blood, or I think it was one of the players from Men of Blood or something that caught out to them. A couple of shots have been sent towards Raid by Beast there, and I think he is going to be sent back into the lobby with immediate effect. But Creed is there to the rescue, and the guys from New Generation might just decide to take this engagement towards the guys from Men of Blood. The north position, Beast still continuing to tap. That is the sound he is hearing there. Creed, a couple of shots still sent his way. He is body down to about 50 HP. Has to be careful there, and still they do have to revive their teammate just for the culture.
Men of Blood currently feeling the heat right there as they have one player who's currently down, but certainly turning their sights onto Afro Esports right there as they do send up them shots. But we're now beginning to see teams get closer and closer and clustered together, and this is where things now begin to start getting interesting as we're moving on to that 4th stage. They're taking on each other. We've still got 16 teams in the lobby so far, Priest. As everyone's trying to survive. I cannot believe that in the 4th stage in Sandhawk, we've still got 16 teams left.
3 phases deep, and still nobody wants to go back into the lobby first. All of these teams are squeezing it by hook or by crook. They do not want to be sent back, but that spoke too soon. Men of Blood finally the first team to succumb and go back into the play zone. Peachy and Punk being the victors and then being the victims of that engagement. And now let's not forget, Afro Esport are still very strong with 2 players in the lobby. They are still very, very capable of being a menace to the rest of these teams. So everyone needs to be very, very careful of the guys from Afro Esports. 2 players is enough for them to tear through some teams and get some serious eliminations.
Oh, definitely. Afro Esports continuing on their aggression right there as they do get a couple of eliminations. Regardless of the fact that they're sitting down with just a two-man squad, they lost 2 players early on to Solo Esports. They're definitely not letting that hold them back as they continue to farm out those kills. Turning our sights right here onto the boys from CLS who have got an edge of that zone, and definitely to have an edge of the zone at this particular point in time is a lot of work as the Fugitives push onto their region. We're now seeing Danny Brown go down, and the fight is on between these two teams.
Oh my days, man. Wow, Fugitive came in like bang, dang. They just pulled up to the scene there, started to rain bullets onto the guys from Cyclone Shield Esports. Cyclone Shield losing not 1 but 2 players, Danny Brown and Falcon, the MVP from the last game. He's been sent back into the lobby with immediate effect. Manny charging that Molotov might just be the savior of this game, but I spoke too soon as his comrade once again falls this time around. It's going to be Roach, and Manny's the last one up. What's he going to do? Is he going to hit the Japa Strat peaks round? It drops him immediately. Beautiful shot towards Arrow. Drops him immediately as well, and he's trying to get a confirmation, but it's not going to work. The revive is going to be smarter, but he does have the DBS in hand.
It was looking like at the moment the boys from CLS were going to have the upper hand in this fight. Just like you said with him and the DBS in hand, they might still be able to pull up a fight against the boys from Fugitives. But my goodness, what a great push coming in from Fugitives in that one. With CLS holding that position and having a 4-man squad, you would expect that they would have an easy fight coming up against the boys from Fugitives, who they could see pulling up onto them. But Fugitives definitely showing that they're no pushover as they take out 2 players right there from CLS.
CLS already paying the piper, that is for sure. Beautiful spray coming in from Manny there, catching Itachi off guard, dropping him immediately inside of the water. So he's definitely going to be fish food by the time he's done with him. You know, the violence from the guys from Cyclone Shield is impeccable so far. They've managed to fend off all of the ops that have tried to pull up to their position. Speaking of the guys from Fugitive Esports, they're trying to chase through the guys from No Rage. I believe someone is in the water there. Escobar is careful, just not trying to expose himself too much. He might get caught out very soon if he moves too quickly.
Oh, Escobar trying as much as possible to see if he can get that elimination, but somehow Topchi is just evading the shots right there. All right, turning the sights onto Afro Esports, who somehow kept themselves alive in this particular game. Have got Aki, who's not too far away from them, trying as much as possible to see if he can put in some damage onto this team. And right now, turning his sights onto Afro Esports, he does get a knock right there, and it's all down to the last player from Afro to see if he can battle and save his teammate, because they're down to just 2 guys. Can he somehow keep them alive in this game? A fucking goes down. My goodness, this is such a hard time for Afro Esport, but somehow they keep themselves alive in this game as we're down to 9 teams.
Valhalla Esports, you can see them tanking the blue zone, just keeping it kosher for themselves. Punk is now going to be the next one to jump into the drink, jump into the pool. That is the way to move right now. Solo Esports actually found their way back into the lobby. Cyclone Shield finally trying to make it inside, but Fugitive have been waiting for them for days, just waiting for them to climb through from inside of the play zone. And the moment Danny Brown showed his head there, he was going to be sent back almost immediately. Manny, the last one up for Cyclone Shield, outside of the play zone, drinking the blue zone and just hanging on to secure his team some form of placement points at this stage. But now you can see the Citizens, they are holding this position, they've already gotten themselves 3 eliminations. And I talked about this, Bego is with the sauce. Fire, Bego is with the sauce.
Oh, just like you said right there, Bego with the source. Citizens Gaming keep it a full squad so far. They've got 3 eliminations, and definitely if you're moving into stage 6 or stage 7 of the zone and you're pushing into that circle and you still got a full squad, you're definitely looking as a top contender to get yourself that winner chicken dinner. But they've got to deal with the boys from Fowl Play, who also got a full squad and got 5 kills to the name. And sitting down in that center, you got the boys from IC. But here's the thing about IC though IC has Fowl Play and as well as Citizens Gaming pushing onto their location. They got 2 players down, and Fowl Play is taking on fights at 2 different angles at the same time.
Yeah, it's looking very, very grim for their position. They have the numbers advantage, and the players from IC continue to fall down one after the other. I believe that is first Artics actually, but they continue to lose one player after one player. That's a beautiful grenade. Connects from Bego, drops shy immediately for the guys from Fowl Play. Fowl Play finally down the player, and it's looking like Simple might just be the next one to go down. A couple of shots being sent again towards next, all the way across from Solo there. The grenades still continue to pour in from the Citizens. This might just be the grenade that ends the game for the guys from Fowl Play if they are not careful.
The problem that Fowl Play had in this position was they were taking on too much at the same time. They were fighting Citizens Gaming on one end and IC as well. I felt like they should have just focused on one fight against the boys from Citizens Gaming, and they might still have had a chance. But now it's down to Solo to somehow keep them alive in this game, but he is not able to, as Joker is up to the tax and takes him out of the game.
Ooh, fantastic timing coming in from Joker there as he uses the DBS to sweep whatever is left for the guys from Fowl Play. You can see now it is the Citizens versus the guys from First Artics. You can see Rainex charging in with his M416, trying to spot Gaudier. He spots him immediately, sends him back into the lobby, and now First Artics are climbing through. They might just decide to take the engagement and take the chicken dinner to boot. Grenades already flying outside from Rainex there. He's leading the charge. He's leading. All he wants is this chicken dinner. The grenades continue to tell the story. No rest for the weekend. The grenade after grenade after grenade fire.
Oh, the boys from First Artics getting that winner with a chicken dinner and sending out Citizens from the game in second place. But Citizens again putting in a huge performance as well, getting another second spot and a few kills to their name, so they're remaining consistent in the entire lobby. But my goodness, what a time for all of these teams. But for me, Priest, it was still an even game. Regardless of Sandhawk being, one of those, maps that is so violent and you expect one or two teams to dominate, it still seems as if when I look across board, it still seems as if it was still even across board. There were like at least 5 teams who were getting the kills.
Yeah, I'm actually very excited, really, because it was a do or die moment right there. The guys from Fowl Play, they had the opportunity, to wrap things up. But they started taking fights on two fronts. You mentioned that they started fighting the guys from First Artics and fighting the Citizens at the same time, and they got caught out, because they did get one of the players from Citizens. I believe that was Jetto. Jetto got eliminated, then it didn't capitalize on that engagement. They started to focus on the guys from First Artics, but then it's all boiled down to the fact that they were not in the play zone and they were trying to, fight the team that was closest to the play zone, and that was First Arctic. So unfortunately, they did get caught out because the Citizens also started to fight back. So that was what happened there, and the Citizens once again did give us a very, very wonderful performance, coming in clutch at second place once again. But beautiful play coming in from the guys from First Arctics to hold that position.
Lovely stuff. We'll see what that means on the leaderboard as we take a look at it in a couple of minutes. We'll be seeing the MVP as well to see who was performing quite well in this particular game. There are a couple of contenders, as Bego got himself 5 eliminations in that particular one. But who do you think is going to be our MVP, Priest, if you had to quickly guess?
I mean, yeah, I've talked about it. Bego is with the source. He did get some majority of the eliminations for the Citizens. So that is to tell you a lot. That he's so capable. He's one of those very, very strong players, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he is going to play the rest of the games. Going into tonight.
Yeah, but definitely that doesn't even tell the entire story, as Citizens just find themselves in quite great positions often as they continue to put themselves into that top 3 position. So regardless of the fact that they're now getting the eliminations by Bego joining in the team, they still consistently, thanks to the IGL, find themselves in great spots, and that is a win-win for the team.
Yeah, you can, when we did mention, Bego with 5 eliminations to boot, and he is the MVP. That's some fantastic, stuff coming in from him. And I said it, Bego is with the source. He is one with the source. First game in MVP. He didn't even play the first game. Second game, he plays for the first time and he's the MVP. First Arctics being our most valuable team, they did perform absolutely fantastic. They did do a fantastic job of holding that position. It was very difficult for them to hold, but they did manage to do it. Once again, fire balance.
Yeah, the boys from First Actors getting themselves 8 eliminations there, doing absolutely well in this particular game and getting the winner chicken dinner. But, you just have to say, we're still seeing the boys from Foul Play and Citizens still pushing themselves and putting themselves up on that leaderboard, continuing with the consistency. There's at least a few teams like Vibe Gaming who performed well in the previous game not being able to get themselves any elimination. So are we starting to see some teams drop off a little bit, start to feel the pressure, or is it just a leap in the Sandhog game and they might be bouncing back in the Vikendi one?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing how these teams are going to handle Vikendi. First Artics with a glorious performance. Citizens, Foul Play, and the guys from Fugitive Esports once again coming in clutch and coming through there. But the leaderboard tells us a clear story. 35 total points. This is from 2 games. So Citizens is leading the pack right now with 35 total points. And that is a fantastic game without any chicken dinners to boot. It's so interesting because the teams that do have the chicken dinners are in 2nd and 3rd place. So consistency wins overall, Fire.
Yeah, absolutely. Just keep getting the kills, keep putting yourself up on, that top 2, top 3 situation, and that definitely is going to count all the way up on that leaderboard. But you still have got to say the boys of Cyclone Shield are still pushing in right there. They've got 32 kills, and they're definitely contenders, right there behind the boys from Citizens Gaming. But great applause to boys like First Actors, Fugitives for still being hot on their heels and getting the winner chicken dinner. Afro Esports didn't have quite a great game in this one, Priest, losing 2 players quite early to the boys from Solo Esports. Maybe they will be able to bounce back as they showed us a little bit of what they're capable of, but the third parties coming in from Goth Esport would not just allow them to show what they're capable of.
All it takes is one game. One game is all it takes, for real. But I'm looking forward to seeing, how the guys from Vibe, Foul Play, and Afro Esports will do in Vikendi because they are strong in that particular map. I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to participate, what their strategy is going to be going into that game, because the leaderboard right now is already starting to give a little bit of a distinct vibe to it. We've got teams now with 35 points, and we've still got teams with 7, 10, so now those teams that are already on the halfway point of the leaderboard, let's not forget there is going to be an overall leaderboard for all the teams that have participated at this point. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that is going to be. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to head into Vikendi very shortly. That is going to be our 3rd game of the night. But let's not forget, do not forget as well, like, share, and subscribe, to the 3 Crown Esports channel and across all platforms. We will see you guys right after this break and take you to Vikendi.
Mira, trato de no hablar yo mal de la gente, pero sí.
Yes, y'all. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If you are just joining us, this is the West African Pro League Junior League Day 2, brought to you by Three Crowns. It is your boy Priest, and I am still here with my main man, Fire. Fire, how have you been enjoying the games so far?
Yeah, it's been wonderful. It's been action packed. Not as much as yesterday because this is a bit more balanced across board. So most teams are able to show what they're capable of, rather than just a few teams that as we saw in yesterday's games. But it's been packed with a lot of action. We've seen some great strategies coming in from all the teams. So we'll see if that continues in Vikendi. If the guys who have been getting the winner chicken dinner all putting themselves up in that top 3 position continue to do so in this next map.
Yes, Vikendi is a very, very tricky map to play. Like you always say, there's a whole lot of buildings, there's a whole lot of cover, there's a whole lot of defensive play. Vikendi is very, very rewarding to teams that know how to hold compounds. It is very rewarding to them. Teams like O3 Brothers, teams like Active Gaming, they're very, very good in holding compounds. So this is going to be feeding, most of those teams and feeding them very, very well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how these teams are going to navigate Vikendi. Not a lot of drop spots, have been, memorized by these teams. They talk about Vikendi. Vikendi is not necessarily the map you play the most, but now some teams might have necessarily perfected how they play Vikendi, and they are looking forward to use Vikendi to be the map that's going to boost their points. So I'm looking forward to, the teams down the lower end of the leaderboard, like Solo Esports, and some other teams, just so they can, get some of those good points for themselves.
I feel like if I was to decide, I would give Vikendi the same amount of or the type of placement points that is given to Livik, because there's a tendency for a lot of teams to want to camp in Vikendi or to play a bit more defensive. So I'll put more emphasis on getting those kill points. But we'll see how that one does play out in today's game. As like you said, a lot of these teams who play more defensive or have the tendency to play defensive might be, happy with this map, as there's a lot of buildings to work with. So we'll see how that one goes, Priest. I'm going to ask you one more time. Still any, body you're gonna,
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to seeing. I'm actually looking forward to seeing the guys from Solo Esports perform. I'm looking forward to seeing the guys from Solo Esports.
Good, finally.
I want to see Jags in action. And Wizard. I want to see them in action. They are also one of the strongest teams. And yes, it is the Umzanzi Solo Esports. It is them. It is the one from Senegal. Yeah, it is them. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to participate in this lobby. They're not off to the best of starts, but I know that somehow they are going to find their way to that top region of the leaderboards.
So definitely, considering the fact that it is the Senegalese Solo Esports, they're probably one of the biggest teams within the West African region when it comes to what they've been able to achieve going on in several different competitions. I do believe they even got all the way into a PMCO at some point in time. They've performed quite well in many top competitions, so we'll see if they can perform quite well in today's games. Maybe they've had a fill of the lobby, found it quite tough so far, and will come into this game and now finally grab that winning chicken dinner or a bunch of eliminations to boost them up on that leaderboard. But they do need something, and they do need it fast.
Yes, I am interested, in the landing spots, the landing position for some of these teams. The play zone is a little bit towards I would call that the southwest, rotating all the way from Hot Spring across Dino Park, all the way down to Vihar. So all of these teams, I think, is a little bit of a cut down the middle. All of these teams are going to be very, very decisive on what they are going to, play in the first circle. And it's so crazy because Vikendi circles are the craziest across all the maps. I believe Vikendi circles, are so crazy. They can move and they can unmove. So I'm just looking forward to seeing how these teams are going to navigate these positions.
Yeah, we're curious to see how that one actually does play out. As you said, all these teams are now just holding their various positions. And one thing about Vikendi, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. If we take a look at the map right now, it has made one of the craziest shifts with more than 50% of the zone sitting down there in the water. So it's just the first zone, but there's a lot of it that is just gone to waste right now. And it's going to feel like we're in the fourth zone when those teams start to rotate.
Yeah, body's already starting to drop there. I can see Sexy from Fugitive Esports has gone down, but I think he might be revived. No Rage Esports are going to be the predatory team in this scenario there. They've already caught a body from the guys from Fugitive Esports, but I think the revive is going to come right through by from his teammates there. So fortunately, yes, the revive is going to come right through. And yes, you saw it, you know, the plays normal Riz is going to be tagged up. And the guys from No Rage catch another body from the guys from Fugitive Esports right out the gate. No Rage already unleashing hell onto the guys from Fugitive. Normal Riz, the next one to swallow a couple of bullets from Deji, the MVP from No Rage.
Deji definitely looking to grab that MVP spot, is getting knock after knock right there, as he has gotten one elimination to himself and is turning right now to see if he can grab another one against normal Reese, and it does look like he does that, as he does capture not one elimination to himself right there. I do believe that elimination goes to Amani, as Amani is the one who got that knock right there, but he did get the confirmation for his teammates. So the boys from Reese getting themselves 2 eliminations so far, looking quite good to or having a great start in this particular match in Vikendi. It's not quite easy to grab yourself 2 eliminations in the beginning of a Vikendi game, so kudos to them in that one.
Yes, it's so impressive, you know, grabbing points right out the gate. You know, we talked about this. If this is going to be the strategy you're going to employ, will you employ it in all the maps? Now you can see the guys from No Rage already employing the strategy of eliminating teams immediately. You know, Fugitive Esports have been doing well enough so far, but they've not been losing any players right out of the gate. So this is the first time that they're going to be getting caught out just like this. And we saw that play zone, you know, we saw the shifts. And I told you, Vikendi zones can be so crazy. Play zone is, you know, centered up there in I believe that is the southeast, and a whole lot of it is inside the water. So Fugitive Esports are already down 2 players, but Normal Riz did manage to snatch himself 1 elimination, and he was able to get at least 1 point for the guys from Fugitive. So still, any team that gets eliminated from here you know, going forward, it's not going to be nice for them. 0 points, 0 nothing. So eliminations will always be the right way to go.
All right, so let's take a look at where all of these teams are currently situated so far right now. As we've just seen, the boys from Fugitives, who lost 2 players, are currently sitting down somewhere around the eastern side of the map, not too far away from Rage Esports. Sitting down Solo Esports is somewhere around Hot Springs, and they will be looking to rotate into that zone around Volnova, where we do have the boys from Vawlence situated. Goth Esport is sitting down in the center of the map around Milner so far, and we do have the boys from Fowl Play all the way towards that northern side, not too far away from Double Metro and Goroka, looking to rotate into that zone as well. Same thing with the boys from Sidizens Gaming, who are in that northwestern side also will be looking to make that rotation in, as well as the boys from Afro Esports, who are sitting down in Goroka, be looking to rotate in. First Artics, who got the winner chicken dinner, are sitting down in Coal Mine with the boys from Extremist, and we might see a fight going down between the 2 of them, as Wolf is just lurking around waiting for an opportunity to get a tag onto one of the team members of First Artics.
First Artics are in serious danger here, though, because I think they're not aware that Extremist is, you know, lurking around here. Wolf is, like you said, lurking, waiting to pounce there on one of the players from First Artics. The moment he rears his head, he might just get dropped and sent back into the lobby immediately, you know. And that play zone, we saw it, is so rough, you know, rotating around to get yourself to that position is going to be so tricky, to navigate it. I'm looking forward to how they are going to do it. And yes, Dollars does actually finally get a shot towards one of the players from First Artics. I believe that is Rhinex. He is going to be dropped down immediately there, and then the rest of his teammates might just decide to pull up to get that revive, and I think that is what your might is going to be doing right here. The rest of the team do find a way to pull up to the scene and get the eliminations flowing, but then they are surrounded by the Extremists, and it's not looking too good for them, Fire.
So Yomai trying as much as possible to hold the Extremists back as it does get a knock onto one of the boys right there from Extremists, and the rest of the players are looking to push in. As you can see, Yomai's just trying to be defensive in this particular one as they've been able to revive their teammates up, and they're showing exactly why they were able to get the winner chicken dinner, the last one. But oh my goodness, Extremists are not holding back as they get 2 knocks right there onto the players right there from First Actors. They might be able to get the revives back up as Dolus is currently down. Extremists are down to that last guy, and I'm curious to see if they would just pull away from this particular fight, if they will look to see if they can push on and finish the fight with the boys right there from First Artics.
It was very clear, when we talked about it earlier. Vikendi favors those who know how to defend compounds. The guys from the Extremists were on the offensive, and they tried to take this compound away from the guys from First Arctics, but they just got caught slipping, and they all paid the price. But fortunately for them, they are not out of the woods. They're not out of the game just yet. And I think they are just down to about one player. I believe that's Coxo, the last player up for the guys from the Extremists. Somehow he's not in this scene, he's not in this area, so hopefully he will be playing for the placement points, unfortunately. But then again, First Arctics with a brilliant holding position, managing to squeeze out 3 eliminations for themselves, and they continue to keep that energy.
Oh, definitely the boys from First Actics getting a couple of eliminations. Just like you said, they've not been able to wipe the entire Extremists, but because Coxar was able to just evade that particular position and just move into the zone. But he might be getting into some trouble as he's moving towards the direction where the Men of Blood are. But turning our sides onto this game so far, it is Afro Esports who are just within the vicinity where Sidizens Gaming are. You can see Neil just being that guy who's scouting around, looking for a place to call home so far. And just like you guys saw on the map right now, it's a very tricky map because regardless of the fact that we're just in that first phase, there is half or more than 50% of the zone currently gone to waste in the water. So although it's the first phase, it might be feeling like a third phase right now because there aren't a lot of buildings situated within the zone for the teams to work with.
Yes, not a lot of buildings, that is for sure. So we talk about defensive teams that can hold buildings, but then it is even the teams that know how to hold hold zones, building or no building. They know how to hold specific areas of the map. That's where the guys from Afro Esports are very strong. They do not necessarily play the building games. They are very, very, very capable to hold splits all across angles of the map there, and I believe that is going to be their next choice of action. New generation also try to find somewhere inside of Dino Park or somewhere inside of this play zone to call their own. The Citizens again and Fowl Play get into a little bit of something just in phase 1, and we talked about this Fire, the play style, the strategy. In this kind of strategy or in this kind of team right here, if you're interested in getting into this into the zone, would you do it right now? Looking at the circle, would you move into the zone right now in phase 1?
I think so. I'll be trying to move into the zone, but I'll obviously be edging it and watching around to see how the teams are currently positioned. So there will be probably one scout like we saw right there from the Afro Esports team looking around to see, okay, where are the teams currently positioned at, and just take a look and see how that one works. But right now, let's turn our sides right now onto the boys from Fowl Play, who are down to 3 members. With those nades, they were able to take out at least 2 players from Citizens, but Bego is still trying to hold it back for his team, but Fowl Play somehow gets Citizens Gaming eliminated, and this is the Citizens Gaming who is currently sitting out on top of the leaderboard. So this is obviously going to turn things around for the entire leaderboard. Ooh.
Speaking of everything turning around, that is the sweet, sweet taste of Vawlence. Citizens getting the first elimination, getting that first confirmation and the flush onto the guys from Fowl Play, but unfortunately it was not enough to save them from getting decimated by that beautiful grenade from Solo and Shy, and that is going to be curtains for the Citizens. Imagine that, first place team, and now definitely they are no longer going to be the first place team, that is for sure, and the rest of the teams are going to catch up to them. That's a beautiful play coming in from the guys from Fowl Play. The play zone has moved a little bit further, still eliminating, still putting the water in the play, but still not giving us 100% of what it's about to do. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the play zone is going to dictate the rest of these games.
Man, absolutely. The play zone continuing to be crazy, like we do expect to see from a Vikendi game. But lovely work coming on right here in this particular lobby. We're seeing the boys from Flex Artics, they put it in the work in this particular game. Foul Play gets in a wife onto the boys from Sidizens, who we do expect to see perform quite great in this map, but we most likely will be seeing them coming back with the vengeance in the next game. But turning our sides right here, we still have about 15 teams right here in the lobby. Extremist sitting down with one player though, hanging on to their life in this particular game, as several teams now hop into the vehicle and look to rotate into the little spaces left within that zone.
Yeah, Goth Esports have not really found their footing just yet. They're still finding their way. You did talk about the Extremists, all the way down to one player. Still, they have managed to squeeze through to this point, but Goth Esports are managing to keep the guys from Valhalla at bay. You can see General just peeking inside their spots. I believe that is Sigma, sees his vehicle outside. If I were him, I would blow that vehicle up, making it almost impossible for him to move out of that position. But then I believe the right call here would be for the guys from Goth Esports to take this engagement, but then the guys from Valhalla might just decide to crash into this building, being held by General there. If he's not careful enough, he might just get spotted out, but Sigma is going to hightail it and change position, and decide on what it is he's going to do to keep the rest of his teammates just within reach and also within arm's length to move into the circle if he decides to make a drastic shift.
Oh, Valhalla right there looking to sniff out the boys from Goth Esports, looking for the one opportunity to make that push onto their location, but not being able to find any victims in that one. So we'll just decide to move on to a separate location. As we turn our sights onto the boys from Vibe Gaming, who are currently sitting down with a 3-man squad in this particular one. They will be looking to perform a lot better in this game, as they have now seen that some other teams have been done a lot of damage, as well as teams like Extremist, teams like Sidizens Gaming are no longer in the lobby, so they will be looking to say this might be our chance to perform well and climb up on that leaderboard, as they found themselves in a good spot so far within that center.
Yeah, it's super crazy, getting crammed up into the center of the circle there. It limits so much for you to do, but then it is a very, very defensive position. The kind of lobby that you're in determines how you want to play it and how capable your team is in defending positions. And this is why I'm going to talk about the guys from Afro Esports again. They're very, very strong, but then again, so is Goth Esports. Again, spoke about General and Ziggy. It's very, very solid team, for this engagement. And again, the water is being chipped away. The water just keeps being chipped away from the play zone. So all of these teams that are at the edge of the south there, like Goth Esports, Fugitive Esports, and the guys from Valhalla, they have a lot of work to do. Cyclone Shield, very, very comfortable position for them in the east there. So it might just work out for them.
Absolutely. We'll see how that one does work out for them as they continue to progress and see if they can get into a very good spot. But Afro Esports, who have not been able to get their footing on today's game so far in the third game, really close to the boys from First Artics right there. Piki is the one who has huge sights on them, looking to throw in that nade onto that position where El Chapo is in. The rest of his teammates are looking to pull up right there. And it's all down to who gets the first knock right here and gets the advantage so far. You can see a little bit of damage being done onto Piki as he does does move out of that particular position right there, he will be getting on the heels as he's now calling on the rest of his players to join him on that fight against El Chapo and his teammates.
Afro Esports, very, very, very dominant team and also equally aggressive. You can see the grenade lines coming in from Peachy as he sends one towards El Chapo's position, but it doesn't connect. The rest of the guys from Afro Esports, it looks like this might just be the engagement. They're starting to surround the guys from First Artics. First Artics are in danger, and I don't think they can smell the bacon just yet. It's looking very, very uneasy for them. They are getting surrounded one after the other. Oh, Renex has been spotted there. It's dropped down by Peachy, and Peachy gets that first knock, that first opening for the guys from Afro Esports, and I talked about it. This is how they attack. They attack in droves. They attack in numbers. They got the first elimination already, and this might just spell curtains for the guys from First Arctics as the utilities continue to pop outside from Peachy. But Neo, the next one to go down, sent back into the lobby as well, might just be spotted. Peachy is spotted again. He's dropped down immediately by the guys from First Arctics. First Arctics not taking this one lying down at all. OJ sends a couple of shots back in return, but Punk is going to be spotted, cut down to about 1 HP. Your might is dealing damage from every single angle. It is all left to OJ and Punk.
Oh, both Afro Esports and First Arctics both feeling the hurt right there. You can see right there the boy OJ putting in the work right there, trying as much as possible to see if he can get another knock, but it's all down to Punk right here. Afro Esports and both First Arctics both hanging in for dear life. Regardless, just take a look at something that might just pop off right here. There's still the boys from MOB who are just lurking around, looking to see if they can make a third-party push, but it's not quite easy to do in a Vikendi game. Afro Esports have still got their 4-man squad if they can get that revive onto OJ, coming up against a 2-man squad left for the boys from First Arctics. Yo Might and his teammate right there, Ragbone, will now be looking to see if they can finish up on this squad. With the 2 members left in this squad, let's see if they can put it up against the boys from Afro Esports. Who is going to win this fight between the 2 guys right here? It's all down to Slim Margins. Will that nade connect? Will it do any damage? Let's see.
Rag and Burn charging grenade after grenade, cocks it through, but it's too close for comfort. He's immediately going to get punished, but another one connects again to Punk. That grenade did do its job, and now it's a 1v1, but your might doesn't know. He's not aware that something crazy just happened right there, but I think he is going to send Punk back into the lobby. Sees him, finally sends him back, and another elimination for the guys from First Arctic. They're up to 7. Now OJ is still trying to heal up. He tries to pop him right through. He drops him immediately. Peachy goes down immediately, and the confirmation from Yomai comes through to 1v1. OJ versus Yomai. He pops again through the left-hand side, tries the window, tries to connect, but he is going to be stopped in his tracks. Afro Esports coming out on top in that engagement towards the guys from First Arctic. That was a beautiful play from OJ to wrap things up, but they did pay the price. They did lose 3 players.
Man, that's absolutely some heartbreaking stuff in that fight, because somewhere in my mind I just kept saying, like, will Afro finally get that final knock? Will they take them down? But it was mutually assured destruction on both sides, because at the end of the day, it's only one man who is walking away from that fight. It is 3 guys from Afro Esports who have gotten taken down, and then the full squad from First Arctics. My goodness, what a fight between those 2.
That was an absolute joy to watch, 2 very, that was a balanced engagement, 4 versus 4. You take one, I take one of yours, you take one of mine, again I take one of yours. We keep taking from each other until there's nothing left, and that is a beautiful play coming from the guys from First Arctics. They did put some points on the board for themselves, and they are still in the running, to stay in the top spot. So Men of Blood here, rather, they've been keeping it very, very slow. They've been playing it very, very quietly. Rage is trying to find a little bit of an angle on top of this building here, just to have an overview of all of the ops, so he can see which direction he's going to shoot from lobby. He's also there playing the high ground as well, trying to look through the walls, or I guess, because I'm not sure why he's not peeking out the window to keep the rest of those ops at bay. But it's so interesting though, seeing how Valhalla want to keep the guys from Fugitive Esports back as well.
Absolutely. Trying to keep them back for now. Fugitives down to 2 players, Arrow and his teammates somehow holding on to their life. If they do get pushed in this corner, they don't have the height advantage, Priest. and this may just spell the ending for them, but it doesn't look like they're going to get pushed, as there's so many different teams around, and the teams might not be wanting to take that risk so far and push onto the location. But taking a look at the zone right now, we do have the boys from CLS sitting quite comfortably in that zone, and they've got a building for themselves to work with, as well as the boys from Vibe. So it's all down to the rest of the teams to make that push, and I do believe a team like Solo might be pushing onto that location where CLS is currently at to see if they can take over that space. Valhalla sending on shots onto the boys from Fugitives as they do try as much as possible to rotate into that zone. So it's going to be a tough time, as we've still got about 13 teams all trying to squeeze themselves into that small spot, Priest.
I'm liking Fugitive Esports rotation, you know. They are within sight. They are within sight of the guys from Solo being sending a couple of shots towards that direction, but nothing is working, you know, just yet. But I'm loving their rotation, you know, trying to find a place inside of the circle, and it's looking like there's a possibility of that. So I'm very, very interested, you know, in how that is going to pan out for them. But Vibe Gaming, they are a three-man team, so if they get pushed on, they might just get dropped out if the other team has better numbers and is ready to take the engagement to them. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to manage it. Even this area is looking like a crazy hotspot right now. You know, new generation, Solo Esports, Goth Esports, everyone is just crammed up here. And now Floyd spots who one of the players from, I believe that is Rag, drops him down immediately. Lyrat goes down, and he is going to be confirmed with the UMP almost immediately there. There is no room for anything. It is all bullets flying and utilities flying every single where.
Solo Esports putting in the work right there as the utilities are coming in. Tokyo trying as much as possible to put in the work. He does get another elimination right there. It's down to Doctor right now to hold it back for his team. There's a little bit of damage that has been done to Tokyo. Can Tokyo get that knock right there? Ooh, we see on the kill feed, Afro Esports have been sent back into the lobby, but Doctor put it in the work right there and does save his team, as Solo Esports are still right there hanging on to their life.
Ooh, Doctor really served him some of that medicine, as it did connect another grenade just piping in from Bad Boy Tims, and this might just be the one that does the trick against the guys from Solo Esports. They need to be careful. They need to hold everything by the neck here, but Vibe is not taking no for an answer. They want to take the guys from Solo Esports down, but then again, New Generation Esports is also there. Beast is also in the game. He's trying to keep the rest of his teammates up just so they can get that revive. Crazy finally making a way inside the edge of the circle there. The play zone hot on their heels, chasing every single player. Crazy with the DBS. He tries to spot from the right hand side, but he's going to be dropped immediately by Bougie almost quickly there. And now is the time. Bad Boy Tims hops into there, drops Levy immediately as well, and now he's going to be the next one to go down. Confirmation is going to come right through for him by Melted, and New Generation Esports might just eliminate the guys from Vibe, but no, they're not letting Melted rest. Bullets continue to send him into the corner there, and he is definitely going to be confirmed the longer this hangs on, and he is going to be sent back into the lobby. GG's to the guys from Vibe Gaming. That was an absolutely fantastic push onto New Generation Esports.
Oh, absolutely amazing stuff going down there as they were able to get the full confirmation onto that team. Vibe Gaming coming in with a three-man squad. They lost one in that particular fight, but great stuff coming in. As we still got about 9 teams left in this one. They got a couple of eliminations to themselves, and we'll see if they can go on and perform quite well as they do continue to progress in this game. But Fugitives right there, you can see Arrow popping in the smokes, trying as much as possible to evade the shots coming in from the boys from CLS onto his position. CLS, like we did mention, have a very great defensive position, and they can take on shots onto so many teams around them.
Ooh, Goth Esport storming the compound there of Solo Esports, popping one at a time, but that's a beautiful play again from Samurai. Hops into the vehicle, jumps out the other side, and uses the DBS to deal excruciating damage towards the guys from Goth Esports, and I believe that is going to be the end for them as well, as Fowl Play just pulled up to the scene to steal whatever was left for the guys from Goth Esports. Fantastic play coming in from the guys from Fowl Play, but now Cyclone Shield, defensive play. They have a compound, and all they have to do is defend it. Probably the only compound in the play zone right now, and they are looking very, very strong. Extremist still down here with their last player. Coxal peeks out too long. He suffers the consequences from Yuri there. Men of Blood looking very strong as well. Another elimination added to them, and now it's all left to 2 players from Fugitive Esports.
Oh, the players from Century Esports still hanging on to their life in this one. It looked at some point like they were going to get taken out as the boys from CLS were sending on the shots onto their particular position, but somehow they've managed to get themselves into that top 6 spot and might even go into that top 5. Goth Esport, who made that amazing push onto that position where Solo Esports was currently situated, are also feeling the heat coming in from CLS. And just like you said earlier on, Pris, this game is going to probably be decided by the team that has the best defensive position in that final circle.
Yes, sir, and that looks like Cyclone Shield right now, as they did add another elimination to their numbers. That's a beautiful way they've been managing and holding these positions so far, but Men of Blood are still north of that position, trying to keep the rest of the guys from Fugitive at bay. Vibe Gaming also here. Bougie is sending shots towards that smoking vehicle. He might just find some ops, he might just find some explosions that will add some elimination points to him, but Cyclone Shield still comfortable inside of that compound. Nobody is ready to take the engagement. No one is ready to take the fight to them. They are swinging strong, and I believe the guys from Vibe are just pulling up north of their position. The guys from Men of Blood as well, trying to make their rotation. There's no team inside of the play zone, Fire, except Cyclone Shield.
Cyclone Shield making the best use of their position so far, and it is strange that they just have only 3 kills considering the amount of knocks that they've gotten. Fugitives feeling the heat coming in from several different corners as they're now down to just the last guy. It is Arrow who's holding on to their life, keeping them in this game as he's sending on the nades onto Men of Blood, and look at that nade pulling up onto that location, and the boys from MOB are just down to pretty much what is 1 HP. If that does connect, it might be able to send Lobby down right here, but it does not, and they will still hold on to this game, Chris.
Holding on. They have to be holding on for dear life at this point, because the numbers that these guys are trying to do are just not feasible with the number of players that they still have left. Vibe Gaming are cut down to 2 players, Kenny and Bougie. Unfortunately, Kenny hasn't found any eliminations for himself just yet. The guys from Cyclone Shield holding every single possible angle, sending bullets to every single player that tries to peek inside. Bougie, the next victim to fall to guys from Cyclone Shield. An unfortunate scenario for them. Kenny is now the last one off for the guys from Vibe Gaming. He's lurking around the walls there. They can hear him. His footsteps are clear as day. All they are waiting for is for him to peep that position, but he's been spotted, and now they are going to take the engagement towards him, and he's going to be confirmed by Roach there and sent back into the lobby one time. Vibe Gaming going out in 3rd place.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're now down to 2 teams left. It is the boys from Men of Blood against Cyclone Shield after taking out the boys from Vibe Gaming and Priest. My goodness, these 2 teams both deserve to get themselves that winner chicken dinner, as they've been battling on throughout the entire game. But like you did say in the beginning of the game, it was going to be decided by the team who had the compounds, who had the defensive position, and I don't see CLS losing this one, as they are getting the knock after knock. They've got the zone, and it is down to the last guy, Lobby from MOB, to try to see if he can put up something right here. But Danny Brown is not waiting for him to come into that zone. He's looking for that final kill. They've got themselves 8 eliminations right there, and Lobby might just get some extra points.
Wow, well, that's a fantastic one to wrap up the game for Lobby there. He did actually find a way to snatch Danny Brown and send him back into the lobby just within seconds. Danny Brown just got caught slipping there. That is literally the definition of getting caught slipping. He was just caught slipping there, and he was sent back into the lobby in serious fashion. But Cyclone Shield, once again, doing it. This is the 2nd game. This is the 2nd game, I believe, that they're winning. If I'm not mistaken, they won the Eranjo game, yeah?
Yeah. Absolutely amazing stuff coming in from Cyclone Shield. But regardless of the fact that they're winning the chicken dinner again, it was how they did it. They got themselves into a good spot. Remember, we talked about this game being won by the team that has a good defensive position. They got themselves into great spots early on in the game, and they maintained it. Yeah, maybe there was a bit of luck coming in as the zone kept on shifting and rotating towards the spot that it was situated in, but they played quite well in holding that position throughout as teams were trying to get into their location.
Yeah, I did enjoy watching them, hold that position, and we talked about it, at length. Vikendi is that map. If you do find yourself in a very, very strong compound inside of the circle, all you have to do is be defensive. And Cyclone Shield is very, very strong in a defensive manner. They're one of the strongest defending teams inside of this lobby. So, and they showed us why they are capable. But then let's not forget about the other teams. First Artics, taking a very, 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 very strong engagement, earlier on in the game, and then again the guys from Men of Blood as well finding their way into second place. They didn't get a ton of eliminations, but they were just able to squeeze themselves a couple of eliminations and to give themselves second place finish. Unfortunately, they didn't have all of their players, and they didn't have the best of position inside of the circle, but they did their best to keep themselves just enough points to put themselves on the leaderboard and trying to get into that senior league.
Absolutely amazing stuff. Let's see how it plays out in the MVP, as we see our boy right there have from Goth Esports getting 6 kills so far and 1 assist. But my goodness, Priest, what a game we've seen so far. What do you think about the boys from Goth Esports?
I mean, I was looking forward to Ziggy and General doing most of the heavy lifting, but Ape was doing a fantastic job so far. He was super consistent. He played a whole lot of spoiler for some teams. He was playing behind and playing long range as well, so he was able to squeeze up a couple of eliminations for his team, and that was a fantastic way to wrap up the game for them. It's so interesting because they did have a great number of eliminations, 9 eliminations going to the guys from Goth Esports. I didn't even, know, but I kept seeing eliminations from them one after the other, second after second, but from so many different teams, and once again, balance.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been seeing a really balanced game coming in on this group, unlike the yesterday's game that was a bit more aggressive from few teams, and that definitely is showing up on the entire leaderboard previously. We'll see the leaderboard in a couple of minutes, but my goodness, what a game coming in from all of these guys. As at the end of the day, things are looking quite like it's such. I'm looking for the word, but like we've said, we've called it balance, but it's more than that. It just feels like every single fight could go any direction.
Yeah, I'm very interested, because I talked about Solo Esports and they didn't disappoint. They did get themselves up to 5 eliminations, and a couple of damage points to boot, but then I'm looking forward to seeing more from the guys from Genesis Esports, Extremist, and Rag. I'm looking forward to seeing more from these teams. They've been lagging behind, they've been falling behind all throughout today, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them perform very, very more. But big shout out to the guys from Solo. They didn't disappoint. Finally they've made a couple of beautiful plays, and finally they found themselves having some interesting points to boot for them finally in this game. But Goth Esports and Cyclone Shield, again, this looks so balanced, and you can't even tell that it was Cyclone Shield that won the game. Anyone could have said it with these same statistics, Fire.
Yeah, absolutely. The stats do show an even game, and from what you can see on the knockouts, it does look like Goth Esports could have actually gotten more kills than they actually did. And on the overall leaderboard, we're now seeing that beginning to show up, as the boys from Cyclone Shields are leading the pack with 55 points right there. Sidizens Gaming, who got eliminated early on, have moved down the pack by just 1 position, but they still are right there hanging on. And what we can see from the leaderboard is that things are looking really balanced all through, at least all the way onto that ninth spot.
Yeah, I'm loving how tight this leaderboard it is so tight. Cyclone Shield doing a masterful performance, giving us 2 chicken dinners out of 3 games so far. Now that is impressive, but then they're not out of the woods just yet, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to manage this final game. We are going to be heading to Miramar, and that is not necessarily their strongest map, but they're a very, very strong defensive team. They know how to hold position, so I'm looking forward to that. Vibe Gaming and the guys from Fugitive Esports still dragging it out there with the Citizens and First Artics, all of them still within each other's necks, still within each other's throats. But I'm so impressed with the guys from First Arctic. They did pack up a couple of points in this game, and they did finish out very, very early. They were among the first couple of teams to get sent back into the lobby, but they still managed to get some major elimination points to boot to keep them still into that top finish. But then what teams do you think are going to, step up? Because I really want the guys from Extremist to step up. I am looking forward to them stepping up.
Yeah, definitely. Extremist is one of those teams that's on my mind. But another team that I'm really surprised with the performance today, because you do expect a team like Solo Esports, who is that team that has been in the Mzanz, and I do believe that they were in one of the PMCOs as well, to come into a lobby like this and be performing and showing what they're capable of. We've spoken about the entire lobby being balanced, and when people are watching, they're saying, oh, maybe, just maybe, this is a below par performance. But having a team like Solo does prove that maybe it is balanced, because they are all high skilled. So teams have to be really careful and respect themselves.
Exactly. Respect is reciprocal, but most of these teams, they do not believe in respect. They believe in violence, and we are going to be looking towards more violence as we head into Miramar right after this break.
All right, guys.
Yes,
So what?
yes. All right. Sorry, I was stretching for a bit. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the final game of the night of the West African Pro League, brought to you by 3 Crown Esports. Big shout out to them for giving us this sweet PUBG Mobile content. It is your boy Priest. I am still here, still catching a vibe with my man Fire. What do you do?
Man, an absolutely amazing day from all of these teams. As we've seen a balanced map so far, with so many teams just putting in the work from all the way from that first position to the ninth. No team is relenting. They're not holding back. They're not respecting each other. Or maybe they're respecting, but they're not being afraid to go toe to toe against, all the way at that top. But Cyclone show still, showing that they are the dominating force alongside with Sidizens Gaming in this particular group, and we'll see if the Miramar map changes that a little bit or if that story continues to be the same.
I'm very interested in seeing how these teams are going to play Miramar. Like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing the Extremists, step up. I'm tired of seeing Cyclone Shield's domination, the first Artics domination. They're already dominating too much. The point difference is already starting to dwindle. I'm starting to see a little bit of a gap there. It's starting to feel like yesterday again. The same team is always dominating, the same team staying on top. But then, the points do spread all across the leaderboard. So, there's more to it this time around. You cannot be caught slipping. If you're caught slipping like Danny Brown was in the last game, it's not going to end up too nicely for you.
No, Danny Brown being absolutely adventurous, trying as much as possible to see if he can get the final confirmation right there, looking for that last kill. But there's that one team so far that we've spoken about, right? The Umzanzi team, the team who has, I do believe, played in the PMCO, the Solo Esports. I do believe there are a Senegalese team coming into this lobby and not being able to perform quite well. What do you think it is? Priest, that a team that is as big as that coming into this lobby that's supposed to be a breeze for them and not being able to perform?
Well, it is the terminologies that, breeze for them. This is not a breeze for them. This is the West African Pro League, and most of these teams are so seasoned right now. They've already had, a little taste of, PMCO Open qualifiers. All of these teams, they've played the Nkosi Super Cup. So many of these teams have had experience in the Clatter of Clans as well. So many other tournaments that have brought them, some level of confidence. The play zone, the flight path right now and the play zone are not even in alignment. It is so crazy out there. You can see a southern play zone, all the way towards the northeast, I believe. Or is that the north? I believe that's the northwest zone there. But then I am very excited to see, if Solo Esports can actually do something more impactful in this game. They are very strong in Miramar, so I'm looking forward to that as well.
And this does provide them with some opportunity because they're sitting right down here with the boys from Fowl Play, and this is where they now begin to show, okay, look, are we the guys that you obviously have predicted us to be, the guys who have the capability to get those knocks, but they're coming up against a really strong team, the boys from Fowl Play, who have been showing their dominance in the entire games today, and it's all down to very slim margins right now. Who gets the first knock or two? Are they even going to push? Because sometimes you see these teams just threaten themselves a little bit and just decide, hey, you know what, we're just going to back away from the fight. So let's see how it goes. Solo and his boys from Fowl Play are getting surrounded by the boys from Solo Esports.
Well, yeah, and I remember you talking yesterday about Picado, that nobody was in Picado because of the teams we had yesterday. But I told you today, Fowl Play, Solo, they're definitely going to be in Picado, and they are very stubborn. So this one isn't going to budge for the next man, and this man doesn't want to budge for the next man as well. But then Fugitive Esports and New Generation, this is an unlikely combination right here. Is quite early for these teams to be getting to something with each other. I believe Normal Race has been tagged up a little bit by one of the players from a New Generation. He's been spotted out and he might just be dropped. Arrow is climbing on top of the hill there to get a better angle just to play from on top of that position. It's all about high ground in Miramar. The higher you are, the most likely, the better the position you're going to get against your opponents, and that is the beauty of the Miramar map. It's so strategic. It's all about strategy. You cannot go in guns blazing in this map for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to wait for that perfect position because you never know who has the heel advantage or who does have an angle on you and can take you down. So you got to be really careful. But the boys from Fugitives right here just pretty much just trying as much as possible to hold several different angles against the boys right there from NGE. And you can see Normal Reese trying to send on those shots right there onto Melted, but not being able to connect the shots. But Sexy was able to get crazy knocked down right there. And can he get that elimination? But this does open up an opportunity for them to maybe rotate into that position where the boy right there from Crazy is situated and make that final push. We'll see if that is the decision they decide to make, or they will just hold back and see how things play out.
Well, it's interesting, the guys from Fugitive Esports, they are very, very strong when it comes to, playing a very, very tough split. But I don't see them taking this engagement. They are going to advance in their position, to squeeze out the guys from New Generation. Crazy has been knocked down, but I believe he is going to be revived. Speaking of foul play, oh, beautiful jump shot there, but it's not going to be spotted through. Simple does peek around the left-hand side there. He is going to be spotted and dropped. Shy, sent back into the lobby. I believe that is almost instantaneous coming in from Doctor there. Doctor still serving these guys medicine. Jump shot, absolutely beautiful, but the drop shot is superior by Simple there, sending Doctor back into the lobby for whence he came, and now it's all left to PlayStation 5 and Solo with Simple. It's a 3 versus 3. Samurai still knocked down, but the revive matches go on from Diags.
Right, so it's down to this moments for these teams. If you're going to prove that you're one of the best teams in this region, it's down to simple moments like this. The boys from Fowl Play putting on their aggression and trying as much as possible to defend their position against the boys from Solo Esports. Remember, these two teams are fighting for the dominance on Picado. Who is the Picado Lord? Who is going to relinquish this position for the next team in the coming days? It's all down to moments like this. Solo and his boys now trying as much as possible to defend their position. They've lost one player. Both teams have lost one player on each end, and it's all down to the decision that they both decide to make. Will they just be pulling away from this fight and getting out of it and not deciding to make that final push? It does look like PlayStation and his boys are trying to rotate around, or he's calling his teammates to try to rotate around to his position to provide him some support.
Yeah, you can see Melted still crawling around, but it's very interesting though, the guys from Foul Play, that particular engagement that they did catch themselves in against the guys from Solo Esports, who's going to be crowned the Lord of Picado. I did see them in the qualifiers. Foul Play, they were very, very insistent in landing in Picado as far as Miramar was concerned, and they were able to defend, Picado at least 7 times out of 10. So I believe they're very, very confident when it comes to that position. Beautiful spray from Sexy. That was an absolutely fantastic one. Crazy, once again, he goes down, and now Fugitive on the front foot, and now he's left to Beast. The last one up for the guys from New Generation, and it might just be the end for them. It might just be curtains, because the guys from Fugitive have him surrounded. There's players every single nook and cranny of this position. He does switch to his M762, but the rest of the guys from Fugitive, they can hear his footsteps. He peeks outside, sends a couple of shots through. Again, it doesn't connect, but they are aware of his position. They know now that he's upstairs. All they have to do is climb the stairs and eliminate him, but he jumps outside trying to get the first knock, and he is going to be sent back by Sexy. Sexy with a beautiful finish onto the guys from New Generation. Fugitive Esports, 4 eliminations to the good.
Fugitive Esports, Sexy and Arrow putting in the work right there up against the team and getting 2 knocks each to themselves. Beast needed nothing less than a miracle to find a way to take out the 2 players that were pushing him in that particular location, and that could not happen as they have now gotten sent out of the game. So great stuff coming in right there as New Generations get taken out of the game. They're the first team to get eliminated so far, and we'll see how that one continues to progress. On the other end, it does look like Samurai boys, that's the boys Foul Play and Solo Esports are still going toe-to-toe against each other right there in Picado. They're in the zone, so they're still holding on for their life and trying as much as possible to see who does get a knock or 2 onto each other.
Let's see the guys from Men of Blood, the team that did take second place in the last game, looking to fortify their position in Miramar and fortify themselves some interesting points You know, and it's so crazy because Armani is still knocked down and the revive hasn't come right through. A couple of shots again being sent by the mini team there by Deji, the MVP. He has spotted lobby. Beautiful shot. As Armani is confirmed, the knock on lobby is almost immediate, and now this might be the opportunity for the guys from Rage Esports to descend on the guys from Men of Blood. This might be the chance for them to make this push, but knowing the guys from Rage, you know, they are going to play a split and play just a little bit slower, and they're going to allow the guys from Men of Blood to recuperate and get their numbers back up.
Money getting taken down right there. No Rage Esports playing it a bit safe in that one and not making the push onto the boys from Men of Blood. While they get their heel onto that one player, Men of Blood got that one confirmation onto No Rage Esports in that particular position. As we can see, there's already been damage done, but ooh, Tappy getting a knock right there onto one of the players from Men of Blood. Are they going to make the push onto that location right now, or they will still be holding it back? I do feel like in situations like this, sometimes you just got to take that risk. You just got to make that move. But it does look like the boys from No Rage have a different plan to just keep on rotating and finding themselves in a good spot.
Yeah, so it's actually very interesting, you know, how the guys from No Rage will take the pot shots towards them, but not engage any further. You know, the guys from Men of Blood have already taken down 2 knocks, but nothing coming short of it, you know, coming through from the guys from No Rage. But they are showing how capable they are from long range, so they do not need to be trifled with. You know, so interesting how they do not need to be trifled with at all.
You know, it's so interesting that the boys from Solo have been dancing around with Fowl Play for quite a while, and they did not get into an engagement, but now they are now finding that engagement finally with the boys from Extremist, as Extremist does get a confirmation onto one of the players right there from Solo Esports. So Solo has now lost 2 players. They're down to just 2 left in this one, and teams are beginning to get closer and closer to each other. We're now seeing the boys from Extremist coming up against CLS. CLS are currently the leaders of currently on top on the leaderboard with 55 points before this game started, now pulling up onto this fight. So there are about 4 teams located within this particular region, and we're curious to see what that actually does mean and how it unfolds as the battle begins.
Ooh, the Extremists, though, I am loving their split, but unfortunately for them, they're just a 3-man team, so the numbers advantage isn't looking too shabby for them. But fortunately, they are on a high ground, so it might just take a while before the guys from Cyclone Shield will decide to leave that position and take this engagement against them. But I do love the position being held by the guys from Cyclone Shield. And you know, I did talk about this: the higher the ground, the better. And now Cyclone Shield have adopted that mentality. It is going to be very difficult for them to be engaged, you know, if they are on very high ground, and they are still in a central position. All of these teams are gathered around Picado and the surrounding environments, just trying to keep things at bay, just trying to keep it very, very slow. So far, we still have 51 bodies in the lobby and 15 teams still vying for an opportunity to get some points on the board. And if you even look at the points right now, 4 eliminations going to Fugitive Esports, and then it is just 1 all the way down to Royal Academy.
Man, with the amount of action that we're seeing so far, you would think that there has been massive eliminations going on at every single corner. But just like you said, it is the boys from Fugitives Esports that have been in the action. But looking at that kill feed, it is Sidizens Gaming who is now coming up against the boys from Afro. They've gotten a knock on their own side, as well as putting in some damage onto the boys from Afro Esports. I do believe they got a knock onto one of the players from Afro, but Bego goes down right there. That definitely is going to put a dent onto the boys from Sidizens Esports. We'll see how that one continues to play out as they're down to a 3v3 situation. Another player right there from Afro goes down on Priest. It is not looking quite great for the boys from Afro Esports as Jetto continues to put in the shots onto Afro.
Oh, that's a fantastic spray from Jetto, uprooting Punk immediately and sending him back into the lobby. And the Citizens looks like they might just come out on top in this one. They have lost Bego, but that is not enough to stop them. They are going to chase down the last player from Afro Esports. I believe that is OJ, trying to hightail it and get out of dodge. Unfortunately for him, he is going to escape just barely by the skin of his teeth, because the Citizens were definitely going to be chasing him down to send him back into the lobby.
Absolutely crazy stuff going down right there as the boys from Citizens put in the work right there and get a whole bunch of confirmation and look to continue to push themselves up on that leaderboard as they were currently sitting down in that second spot just behind the boys from CLS. We're curious to see what that means for them as they continue to progress in this game. But still, regardless of all this action that we've seen so far, we've still got about 15 teams left who are still pushing into that circle. We're moving on to that stage 4 and there's a whole bunch of teams holding on and trying to rotate into several different spots within the zone, and it's about to erupt so far, as we do know it does in Miramar, that all these teams will keep on hanging on to their life, but once they get into that final zone, things just explode.
Yes, things will be exploding because of this kind of play zone. Now, I am very curious, how these teams are going to navigate. I'm talking about Cyclone Shield rotating as well, the Extremists, Stolo, Fowl Play, and Men of Blood. All of these teams need to get themselves quickly inside of the play zone. This is not that time of the game that you want to be caught outside. You have to be in a very sweet position, and I'm talking about in a position like the guys from Valhalla Esports. Now, that is a beautiful position for them to be in, but Bad Boy Teams has been spotted by his ops, and a couple of shots are going to be sending themselves behind him, and I think that is going to be from No Rage Esports.
No Rage Esports trying as much as possible to put in the work right there and get a couple of knocks from that distance, from that third party. Vibe Gaming is still keeping themselves in this game right here. They've got Afro Esports not too far away from them at a distance, but my goodness, Priest, taking a look at the map with the position that everyone is currently situated at, the boys from Afro still holding on to their life as they're with the last guy. The boys from Fowl Play still have, I do believe, have got a 3-man squad. They're hanging on around that edge. Sidizens Gaming trying to rotate into the zone all the way from that northern side. They might be facing Fowl Play or Vibes Gaming as they do try to make the rotations in. CLS all the way really close to first Artics, might be looking to get into a battle right there, coming in from that region around Junkyard where GNS is also situated. We also got the boys from Goth Esport right there within that northern side, not too far away from RAG. So we'll see how that one continues to flow in this particular map. I'm curious to see who does win this one, take this game through.
Afro Esports and Solo Esports, all down to 1 and 2 players respectively though, but you can see Indiax there trying to hop into a vehicle and find a little place for himself and the rest of his team inside of the play zone. But then here comes Cyclone Shield. Unfortunately, the play zone has started to catch up to them, and that is the unfortunate scenario of the play zone right here. Danny Brown is going to go down, and the guys from First Arctics finally catching a wind of the guys from Cyclone Shield. Danny Brown might just get confirmed if he's not careful enough, and now is the time for the guys from First Arctics to take the fight. Roach is going to be knocked down by Your Might immediately, and he might just get confirmed and sent back into the lobby. Cyclone Shield cut down about 50%, and the guys from First Arctics might just decide to take this engagement to run them out of the lobby and end the game for them early and reduce the point difference between Cyclone Shield and the rest of the lobby. But you can see Your Might there. He's holding just a little bit of a top ward position, still keeping his eyes onto the guys from Cyclone Shield Esports, and now he starts to rain bullets towards Roach as Roach tries to escape for his dear life. Again, Manny is following suit, and this is somehow the guys from First Arctics have been trying to deal damage towards the guys from Cyclone Shield Esports, and now that they know that it is possible, they are continuing to rain bullets towards their general direction. Valhalla Esports, again, losing one of their players in an untimely fashion. That is not what I want to do right now. That is not what they want to, be remembered for in this particular game.
Oh, the boys from First Artics getting in the shots right there from CLS. But CLS in a very, very, very precarious situation so far, as they have lost 2 players in this particular one. They were unfortunate to have, some of the players from First Artics have that heel advantage against them and take out a couple of the players, with Danny Brown going down quite early in that fight right there. We'll see what that means for CLS as they continue to battle it out against the boys from First Artics, who still have their full squad, considering they can get that last revive onto their guy. But it's a tough one so far, as we're down to 14 teams in this particular lobby. It is just the boys from Fugitives and NGE who have currently been taken out.
Ooh, yes. NGE have been doing the Lord's work so far. They've been trying their best to keep it together, but it's getting very difficult by each passing second. And you can see the player zone is starting to cook, is starting to look very, very unlikely, as the last player from Afro Esports is going to succumb to some bullets. And that's a beautiful grenade from Bad Boy Tim's. It connects immediately to one of the players. I believe that is from Men of Blood again. Lobby is going to be confirmed by a grenade as well from Bad Boy Tim's. Absolutely fantastic work. You can hear the audio cues and the awareness from Vibe Gaming there. Unfortunately for them, Cyclone Shield succumbing to the blue zone and to their ops, and now the gap at the top of the leaderboard has been cut by a significant amount. Fire.
All right. So definitely going to the MVP, the blue zone 2 OP, getting a couple of knocks and kills right there and confirmations. But we now turn our sights onto the boys from Vibe Gaming, who've got about 3 teams around them. There's Fowl Play, who are also situated within the region, as well as the boys from Men of Blood, and they continue sending on those shots. But Psycho might have something to say here, as he has the boys, Teams, and Kenny on his side. He's sending in the Molotovs into that position where they're currently situated at, but is not able to connect, as Teams does change his position onto the building, and it's all down to very tiny slim margins on who does get the next knock right here in this particular fight. One nade into this position might just turn things around, Priest.
Yeah, you can see Psycho there is trying to play behind, using the cover to his advantage. But now Bad Boy Teams has heard of his, his position, trying to use that M249 to deal the serious damage. AKM is in hand for Psycho. The jump shot doesn't work. The AKM is just too OP, just too powerful. 7.62 is not to be trifled with. Again, a couple of shots. That's 2 for 2 from Psycho there. He might just solo take away the guys from the guys from what? Is that Vibe? Oh my days, it is Vibe. It is Vibe. Oh my days. I was not expecting Vibe to be the team that he was going to 1v3 there, but unfortunately for him, he was not able to keep it 100, and he has been sent back into the lobby.
Man, what a time going on right here. Several different teams are fighting for their dear life. The boys from Vibe Gaming almost getting taken out right there by the last player from Men of Blood, but they still somehow managed to fight through and keep themselves in this game. So now we're down to 7 teams right here in the lobby, as we're pushing on for who is going to be grabbing home that winner chicken dinner. The boys from Citizens are fighting on in this particular one. They've got themselves 4 kills so far. They've still got a 3-man squad, so they're definitely looking quite strong. Rag also has got 4 kills, but they still have their full team in this particular one, and they're sending out shots onto the boys from Rage Esports, and it's going to look really tough as we're moving on to that final circle. But there's still that one player from Fowl Play, and that's Simple, who is still in this game, lurking around somewhere, just hoping he can push his team all the way into that top 3 spots and continue to climb up that leaderboard.
Well, four eliminations apiece to the guys from Citizens, Fowl Play, and Royal Academy. Finally, the guys from Royal Academy is starting to show up, but then so is No Rage. Ooh, beautiful shots there towards the guys from No Rage. I think Top C just put his head out for too long, and he got instantly punished for it. But now the Citizens having a beautiful position. 2 eliminations apiece between Jetto and Joker, and they are trying to keep the guys from Genesis all the way back. Trying to keep them at bay, just to box them out, not to allow them to get inside of the play zone. And now is the time for the guys from Citizens to rotate and find an angle inside of the play zone to call home. It might just be too late for them. They might just get caught out on rotation. The bullet's starting to ring outside. Again, the guys from No Rage do have an idea on their position. The last player, I believe that is... Who is that inside of the shack? Is that Solo Esports?
I'm not sure about that, but I do believe, yes, Samurai Solo Esports is the last player for his team, and he's somehow still trying as much as possible to keep himself alive in this one. But Royal Academy sending all the shots onto Sidizens right there as they get knock after knock right there. They're still holding a good amount of players in this one as Sidizens get taken out right there in 5th place. They did get a couple of kills to their name, but now we're down to 4 teams left in this one. Fowl Play Simple is still holding on to their life in this one as a solo teammate, as well as Samurai, who is keeping his team alive. The Solo Esports haven't gotten a lot of kills in this one. They just got about 2 kills, but they're still trying as much as possible to keep themselves in this game. Right now, we've seen a situation where it's a 3v2, v1, v1, and no Rage Esports are looking quite strong on the ceiling this game through.
Royal Academy have been so impressive. 5 eliminations to them, and they are looking for more. But then again, the guys from No Rage are very, very, very stubborn in that position that they're holding, and it looks like they might just play a split and squeeze the rest of these teams apart, because they know for a fact, I think they should know by now, that they have the numbers advantage. So all they have to do is play to their strengths right now and squeeze the rest of these teams. And now a couple of shots again being sent by Samurai. Beautiful spray from Samurai there, and he just pops back into cover at the right moment in time. It is all left to the guys from No Rage. Now is the time for them to take the advantage and press forward, push forward, and take the game. It is a 3 versus 1 Samurai against the guys from No Rage Esports. The smoke's already coming outside, trying to keep them at bay, trying to hide his position, but now I think they know that he's here. They might just squeeze inside of this jack and send him back into the lobby. He's cooking, he's waiting down there. He has a Scar L in his hand, I believe, and he might just decide to take on the guys from No Rage Esports by himself. This would be interesting, but the grenade is instantaneously perfect. It is perfect. It is a perfect 10 out of 10 grenade from No Rage Esports to claim the last chicken of the night.
Oh my goodness. We talked about it before the game started about teams like Solo Esports doing a lot better in this particular one. They were able to grab themselves that second spot as well as getting 2 eliminations. So that does give them a couple of points. Maybe they might move up on that leaderboard into probably that top 10 spot. But No Rage Esports finally getting that winner chicken dinner in this Miramar game, and I do believe they got themselves about 7 eliminations, so that's obviously going to continue to boost them up. I do believe that's about 17 points, so that's going to be a huge boost for them up on that leaderboard. But I do think I see a couple of new names, a bit of a shuffle in the top 5 right now, but Sidizens is still there.
Well, I am very impressed with Solo Esports. You know, and I told you they were very, very good in Miramar. They know how to play the Miramar structure. You know, it's an unfortunate scenario for the likes of Cyclone Shield Esport. They did get caught out because of First Artics. First Artics has been a thorn in their side. You know, First Artics has actually been a thorn in everybody's side tonight. I mean, these guys have been so stubborn. Every single engagement that they've taken has come out some type of it's so hectic, you know, fighting against them every single time. Even the guys from Afro Esports could attest to that in Vikendi. So it was even in the first game that we had tonight. So yes, I am looking forward to see who is going to be the MVP, because it's going to be very, very tight, you know. And I'm still very, very impressed with the guys from No Rage. They held this very, very tight, even with a 3-man team. But I'm more impressed, you know, with the guys from Psycho is the MVP, and I think it's because of that engagement that they had with the guys from Vibe, because he was absolutely fantastic in that engagement. I think that is why he's the MVP, because he did a whole lot of work.
Yeah, definitely, and he could have gotten a lot more if he had gotten that final elimination. It might have even been 7 kills to his name. So great job coming in from him. He put in the work. It was really close to getting that clutch right there, but at the end of the day, it wasn't to be. And yeah, the boys from Vibe were saved.
Yeah, you know, Vibe were definitely saved by the sheer application of numbers, but No Rage Esports still your MVT, and they did deal significant damage to prove it. they did perform in the best of their ability so far, and the numbers do not lie. They did have at least 7 eliminations to boot with that, and they did have over 1,000 damage. So that tells you that they were fighting. They kept the numbers up. They continued to deal damage to every single team that they could catch on the break. But do not forget, the Citizens also finally, putting some big digits on the board as well. They did get eliminated in 5th place, but not after ridding the lobby of a couple of players. 6 eliminations to them. And they still managed, to get some numbers. A big shout out to Jetto and Joker doing the absolute best, being a 2-man team. Towards the end for Men of Blood, and finally, Fire Royal Academy.
Yeah, it's the boys from Royal Academy putting in some, points right there, and they've gotten themselves into that 3rd spot right there, Priest, and gotten themselves those 5 kills. So like we were saying, we talked about things being a lot more balanced in this lobby, teams having a lot more respect. But now we're seeing the teams who did not perform in the previous games now coming up and trying as much as possible to boost them up on that leaderboard. So we'll see how things continue. As you can now see, all the way onto even that 12th position, there are teams with 20 points or more.
Absolutely incredible stuff. You can see the guys from Cyclone Shield still leading the pack with 56 points in total. So you can see they did get 1 extra point from this last game. I believe they got 1 elimination, and that counted towards something for them. But you can see the Citizens still keeping the gap very, very short, just an 8-point difference. Fowl Play climbing up into 3rd place with a beautiful performance coming in from them as well. And the guys from Vibe Gaming didn't move up, they didn't move down, but they still are within reach to that 1st place position, and they are still going to maintain the top 5. Now, this leaderboard is reflective of the overall leaderboard. So there is another leaderboard, and that leaderboard is the one from yesterday. So all of this is going to be shuffled. These teams, we are going to find, the top 22 teams from this entire leaderboard. So do not forget to check out 3 Crown Esports on all your social media, on all their social media platforms, so you can see the general leaderboard and know where your favorite team stands. But beautiful performance from Solo this time around, Fire, and I said it, they are now in the top 10.
Yeah, the boys from Solo continuing to grind onto that leaderboard right there to push themselves up. They're in that 9th spot. They've gotten themselves 27 points, but that was 27 points well fought for, because you could see them in that Miramar game continuing as much as possible to battle it out. But we'll see what that means in other days. It's not really the optimum performance for them overall, but at least they were able to get themselves into that 9th spot.
Yes, sir. So, it's been a beautiful night of games brought to you by 3 Crown Esport. This is the West African Pro League. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Put the numbers on the board for us, and do not forget, this is PUBG Mobile content at its finest, and we are going to catch you guys same time tomorrow for more PUBG Mobile content, more violence, more vibes, and this is us signing out.